welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that midday show that comes on after the big show. That right there is your girl Adara, and I am Sharif, and we're going to wait for the crew, the people, to migrate on over from the other stream. We already have Darwin, the OG. We got Matthew Booth. We even have Adara LePage in the chat. Bears versus Bulls gracing us with his presence. Good to have you guys. Lots to talk about today. So many different earnings plays that we can get to. Atif, I see you, sir. Sofa Monster, yes, sir, I see you. JC Finance, we got Bow. SNW, 1320 Wolf, Estupido, Bitcoin, we got Pedro Khan, we got Stock Up, Andrew Chow, Picky Eater, and the Hamster One, baby. We also got Goliathio, JF Trader, Jonathan Canny, Jason Walcott, Solo Cristo, Stefanzo. We got, who else? Carlos Dart, Adrian. What's up, sir? I see you, Kevin. I see you, Big Kevin Mendoza. We got Redna. Ayo Lewis, Diego Lima, and Stock Trader. What is up to everybody? Glad you guys could join us today. And Erudai, have a great show for you guys. What are you looking at there, dear? I already see a triangle and something on the board.
Yeah, so. I'm pretty sure we're about to take an L in W. I am in Wayfair, but like I said, I don't think it's going to be a W trade. I want to talk about why I got involved, though. So I got involved because I liked this little 9 EMA, the fact that we were below the 9 EMA, I like that we were generally having these lower lows here. Now in retrospect, this little doji could have been a sign of reversal. I should have run for the hills or at least tried to go long, but then I get in, right? And the second it flips over to us, this guy drops. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now it's back up here. We're giving this into 50s. The spread on this is not my favorite. We do have like a 6-penny spread, which I didn't really notice. I should have basically been watching this a little bit more carefully before hopping into Wayfair. So I don't really know how well we'll fare in Wayfair. So just try to be aware of that. That being said, if we bounce, if this reverses, we know I'll take this long. I have no problem switching the style up, and if it hates, then let them hate and watch the cents pile up. I can't say money. There's not going to be that much money in there.
Still
anyways,
money.
Wayfair pushing up here, so we're going to have to say farewell to Wayfair. We didn't fare very well in this trade, but you know what? Didn't lose too much. Happy with how I managed it. The sun will come out tomorrow. There's always a new opportunity. So there we go. Still looking at KWeb as well, because those Chinese ADRs have been really strong. Trying to find a dip opportunity in KWeb. And you know I'm always looking at SOXL as well. How are you doing?
Doing good. We're in the Cybertruck at the moment. I already wet my beak on some profits there off that third of a dollar short. I wanted the 180 initially. Well, no, correction. Looked for VWAP rejection on the Cybertruck initially. Didn't get it. Didn't make its way up to 180 either. It came close. It came into that 179.80-ish area. So I waited for that back end, as my friend Neil likes to say, to show you that it is headed down. And alas, it is. And here comes 179 or thereabouts. We're at 10s or so. If we get a little bit lower, I will look to get everything out. But it looks like there is some strength right now on the Cybertruck. So we'll keep watching that as, yeah, we got to do the lesson. So let's see what this one does. I'm going to give it another second or so. Let's see what this one is doing. It's at VWAP right now, and that's the thing. It looks like it wants to make its way back into that 180 area. So we'll take out the, nice. Got it a little bit on the down move. Good. Pleased with that. All right, Killer Cam, I promise you, I'm going to chat a lot about Apple. Just give me the opportunity to get this lesson done, lesson du jour, baby, and then we're going to drop hot lines about the big one today coming up at 4:30. Make sure to check that with the Katina Man and Adara on the Market Recap Show. It'll be a little bit later of a release. Usually Apple comes about half past the hour, so I don't know if they're going to be going that late today.
That's what I saw, yeah. 4:30.
Yeah, typically it's a little bit later there. So let's get right to it. We were talking about the gap and go strategy all week long. Today, no different. We are talking about different variations of the gap and go since Monday. Today, we're going to talk about the 2-bar gap and go. Let's get into that, see what it's all about. So the classic gap and go strategy focuses on strong price movement within a single trading day, right? But what if you want to identify trends with longer legs? Enter the 2-bar gap and go strategy, a variation that leverages, momentum building across 2 consecutive days. So our trade today, we're going to look at it from the lens of 2 days. So this lesson dives into this approach and how to spot the potential opportunities. Let's get right to business. So beyond the single day, right? We're all micro-focused, but the reality of the matter is we're showing up every day, so we need to have a macro view as well. So you'll recall that the standard gap and go strategy thrives on gaps occurring at the opening of a trading day. While powerful, it can miss trends that develop over a longer time frame. So the 2-bar gap and go strategy expands the scope by focusing on a 2-day sequence. So day 1, a stock experiences a significant price gap up or down, if you're looking short, accompanied by high trading volume, right? So we get a big gap up, accompanied with high trading volume. Day 2, the stock opens strong on day 2, continuing the trend that was initiated on day 1. And here is a great example of that. Shout out to ADRs. There is the gap on AstraZeneca. Probably, is this during the pandemic? No, it's prior to the pandemic. I figured, you know, pandemic, right? AstraZeneca, their, what's it called? Vaccine. Anyway, so there you go. You get the gap up from below 5,800. Obviously, this is pre-split. And then you move up on the second day as well. So it's a continuation style play. So that's how it's kind of depicted on the chart. So why 2 bars? What specifically about 2 bars are we focusing on here? So the 2-day approach offers several advantages. The first, identifying momentum. The gap on day 1 signals the potential trend. The potential trend. You haven't closed out yet, right? So day 1, you see it gap up at 9:30, but 4 o'clock hasn't come around, so you don't know if it's going to retrace. So you're looking for that potential trend. The strong open on day 2 confirms its continuation, offering more confidence before entering a trade. So the identifying momentum aspect of it, one of the advantages. It also helps reduce false breakouts. Single-day gaps can be quite fleeting, right? Waiting for a strong open on day 2 helps filter out those movements that are short-lived. So reducing the false breakouts also highly important, especially for intraday trades. And then targeting news-driven trends. This is really focusing on that. News or earnings reports can sometimes trigger gaps. Watching for follow-through on day 2 helps identify stocks with potentially sustained momentum due to the news or, again, earnings here. So that's what we are focusing on, two bars on second day plays for these specific advantages that they offer. So putting it all into practice, how are we doing this? So number 1, I keep mentioning this, scan for day 1 gaps. Use a stock screener like the one I've got up here. And again, I'm just going to show you this real quick. I have a gap column here that's showing me how much each of these names is gapping. Now, this is all specifically for small cap gappers. I don't have to have my scanner only scan for small cap gappers. I can make it into large caps and then filter that by what's gapping up the most. Okay, so get yourself a good scanner. Usually you got to ante up some money to get the good stuff, but it's not a hard and fast rule. All right. Number 2, focus on the day 2 open. Remember, this is the day 2 focus here. So we're focusing on the day 2 open. The next day, which is day 2, observe the opening price and volume, excuse me. Look for a strong open that continues that trend initiated on day 1. So you're focusing on that day 2 open, that 9:30 pop. Is it going to continue to pop up, or are we going to give back all of day 1's move? So that's what you need to look at there. And then number 3, your entry and your stop loss. Once you see a strong day 2 open, consider placing a limit order slightly above that bullish gap or below that bearish gap on day 2 opening price. Always set a stop loss order in order to manage losses, and we'll talk about where that placement for your stop should be. All right, so here's a nice little example, and I want to bring this in, okay? So imagine stock XYZ gaps up $2 on day 1. So it's up $2, let's say from 10 to 12 on day 1. It reaches $15 on day 1 with good volume. Then on day 2, it opens at $16.50. So it's gapping again, two gaps in a row to $16.50 and continues to trade higher. This strong day 2 open suggests the uptrend from day 1 might hold. You could place a limit order to buy slightly above that $16.50, aiming to capitalize on that continued momentum. So that's a bit of an example there. All right, and then here are a couple of considerations we need to keep in mind when we do this. Patience, guys, it is absolutely key. You always hear me say, pack my patience, this, that, and the other. I really do mean it, though. This strategy requires waiting for confirmation on day 2. So by necessity, you're missing out on a day 1 play for that particular instrument. You don't have to miss out the entire trading day. Don't jump in based on day 1 alone if you want to use this strategy. This strategy, by design, requires you to sit out day 1. And false signals as well, man. Even strong day 2 opens can reverse. It's not a hard and fast rule that they continue. Make sure you're employing proper risk management with stop loss orders. It's absolutely crucial. And not every gap, guys. I mentioned this yesterday. Not all day 1 gaps lead to sustained trends. Make sure you're analyzing the supporting factors like news or the technical indicators, which could be pointing the other way. All right, and the 2-bar gap and go strategy, just as a final thought here, is a really powerful tool for identifying trends with momentum. However, it does require a plethora of discipline and patience and strong understanding of market dynamics. Practice on a paper trading account to make sure this strategy is for you and that you've done it the right way, Adira.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, of course, with everything, you always want to make sure you have that confidence. You've double-checked, you've triple-checked, you've made sure the plan works for you. And I say that because that has been my Achilles heel today. We had 2 trades that didn't work out, but I have to say I'm really proud of myself for how I managed both of them. Also, I am trying to get involved in this TQ, which I'll talk about briefly because it's on my screen, and why not? I like the idea of going long here, and let me talk about why, because I like this level. So I want to get long this 52-52 area, right? That was the area around where we had that little chop and turn earlier. It would represent a continued stutter step to the upside. Furthermore, my stop loss will be around that 52.38. Why, you may ask? Because we wicked off there twice, and also that was resistance earlier. I like the flips between resistance and support. The only thing that makes me go, right now is the fact that this area we're rejecting off of was previous support. However, it does look like we still have this kind of continued uptrend. I'm going to be watching this volume candle here on the way down, but I'm not pleased as punch yet. There's nothing to be pleased about yet, but I do like what's brewing here, and hopefully it makes some nice strong coffee and a nice strong trade. Let's look at Pinterest though, because not happy with this trade, but really proud of how I managed it. Got involved here. We were seeing lower highs, slightly lower highs here in the flat bottom. I didn't think we necessarily get a flat bottom break, but I was happy to play that range. As we know, I am always interested in. But also, I liked it too because look at this. We had that wick up into 40.20. We weren't able to make it. I got involved. Initially, we did work. I was trying to take some out at 40s, and we got about partway there, and then we flipped back to the upside. So I said, if we break above that 40.20s with a viciousness, that previous top new high, I am out of here. Sayonara, see you later. We had that break up, and I'm really happy I got out where I did because I could have risked another 20 pennies had I not been able to get out of there with the swiftness. Same with Wayfair. We did not fare very well in Wayfair, as I've said. I just say farewell to Wayfair, but I'm still, again, happy with how I managed it. We broke above that area. Bye. So we weren't in sync, but we can get back in sync. If we were to have this VWAP projection, we already did this a couple times here, right? So I have no qualms about getting involved. I just need to be a bit more patient, find levels I love, and get it cracking. I did miss that K-Web long as put it out by the Piper. I was trying to get involved there. I had a dip buy at, where was it? It was, I want to say we had a dip buy at, yeah, it was there. We had it set at 69s. It took off without us, but it's still on my side chart, still in my mind, and I have no problem getting involved in this if it comes back to a level I like. I have my hand so many things. I need to probably just streamline, focus, and breathe, but I'm so excited to get involved in some trades with everybody here. Sebastian saying I am a crazy poet. I mean, I just like rhymes. I like rhymes, and I'm happy to be able to spit them all up here with everybody. Great community that we have here.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Tammy Marshall yesterday, Trader Tammy, Fibonacci Princess, coming on the market recap with Neil and I yesterday, and talking about how you need a trading board of directors, like just people whose opinions you like and how to feel like you have a community. And so Neil and I were speaking on that yesterday as well. I think it's one of the benefits of Trader TV Live. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to Sharif as well. How are you doing?
I'm decent right now.
I like that.
Decent, yeah.
I love that slang.
Apparently, it was not to some individuals' likings on this floor over here. I'm sorry. All right, let's have a look. I'm long at 165.07 on goggles for that VWAP hold that's been employed since candle 10:40 a.m. We seem to be holding up at these levels, so I'll look for a quick range trade on this. I'm also keeping my eye on the soft one. The reason is I'm keeping my eye on the soft one is because, bro. Come on. There we go. Nice, Google. Because while we broke into the 50 and we've been putting in lower highs, so I kind of felt, okay, we're getting into that 50 period area, and I wanted to see this turn. So it's not turning. It's 3 straight candles now that are higher highs and higher lows since I started observing this between the volume weighted average price and the 50 period. So I'm just going to pack my patience on that one and see if we can play the range on Google on a rinse and repeat trade. Keep in mind, though, that we're getting incrementally lower highs on this range. So initially, we're kind of almost making it up into that 40, 50 penny area, 165.40, 165, you know, high 30s. Now we're kind of getting lower highs with the bottom maintaining. We're nicely in the money on this one, but it's, you know, you got to be alive to possible trend changes here. Now, I saw Rohit Sharma ask, what does gap mean during the lesson? So I really wanted to cover this quickly because, you know, you kind of sometimes just forget that there's people that don't know what a gap is. So let's go ahead and cover that right now. So this is the daily chart on Meta. And I'm just going to remove the pivots here for a second so that I can kind of show you what a gap is. And then I also have to remove the pre-market action. So show data outside regular, there we go. Okay, so you see this big price gap over here from 400 on Meta that we printed February 2nd, 2024. So we were literally at the closing print there that day was 394. Then when we came into the work the next day, the opening price was $460. So that's a gap. And that is the reason that that's not shown there is because the price move took place in the after hours and in the pre-market. And that's outside the official trading hours of the market. So if you remove pre-market trading and after-market trading from your chart, you're going to see these gaps. If you include pre-market trading and after-market trading, most of the time you're not going to see the gaps. I'm not saying you won't, but you'll see them a lot clearer if you remove all the price action outside regular trading hours. And so that's what we're talking about here. Any price change between the close of yesterday and the open of today, if it's moving up above that, you're gapping up. If it's below that, you're gapping down. I just wanted to make that very clear so that we have an understanding of what that is. So let me just change my settings quickly here, show regular trading hours, and put my pivots back. All right, now we're good to go. And we can monitor this goggles trade. What are we doing here on goggles? Yeah, we're still in the range, in the money. We got up into that 20 cent area, so I'll continue to watch that. Let's see what else is popping off over here. Let me see what else is going on. So Tesla is having issues at 180. Now, the funny thing about this is when it was on the way down, I looked for a 180 hold. And as you can see here, there was no such 180 hold. Funny enough is, now that we're coming back into 180, now it's using it as resistance. It wouldn't use it as support, but now for whatever reason, it's using it as resistance. I was able to take a quick trade on the Cybertruck earlier, right at these levels. Let me show you real quick. As it did come into that area and reject it off 180. Oh, that's Meta, excuse me. This is the level I'm talking about here on Tesla. As it did come into that 180 level, it's a rinse and repeat trade. It keeps making it up into that 180 and then rejecting. But keep in mind that these higher lows are quite telling as well. So that trend could change and you could have a break through the 180. Higher low, higher low, higher low here, all on the 1 minute look at Dara.
Yeah, there's so many interesting things happening in this market. I know I initially said I wanted the TQ dip buy, then I decided I want the stock sell short, and I had to choose my fighter. Now, the reason I didn't want to get involved in these in opposite directions is because I have noticed, because there are a lot of chips involved in the TQs, right? There is sometimes a little bit of symbiosis in how these two move. So I did not want to get short one and long the other. To me, that just was not a strategy that seemed incredibly sound. So that was why, at least for me, for how I trade, I wanted to just get short the stock sell for now. Now, I like this trade for now because I like, and this is actually an area I drew pre-market. So sometimes Sharif will see, like, I'll come here. I usually set up my charts a couple minutes before I go to the big desk, and I'll just draw some lines sometimes. I like this line just below 36 because look how we were dancing with this in the pre. Now, these lines I draw in the pre often do not come into levels, but I like that we were rejecting here off of that 36 area. And I said, you know what, Adara? The line is a sign. So I got short with the rejection of that line. Also, just a failure, right, to break above this earlier high of this, where does this, 36, just above 36s on a non-wicking basis, on a closing basis. So I like this area. I don't like that for whatever reason we can't get into. I think I have my order at 72s. I'm like, guys, you can get to 74s. You can get to 72s. Come on, Soxal. I believe in you. Let's pull those socks up and continue to the downside. I'm going to get 2/3 of the position out right here at that previous base. We're going to save pieces for dreams. I don't know how long these dreams will be. To quote Beyonce, it can be a sweet dream or a beautiful nightmare. And you know, with trading, you often get one or the other and sometimes both. Had a couple bad trades earlier today, so just ready to brush that dirt off my shoulders and keep going. Sox L to the downside. I'm hoping to make this a Sox W. I know earlier, I think it was 1320 Wolf telling me to look at Amazon and Apple, and I do see some ranges and then their charts. So I want to look at these. Not names that I'm not sure I would 100% be chill trading, just because I am still working on being comfortable trading more expensive stocks since going live. But look at this Amazon. Higher lows that bounce off the 90 EMA. This is, thank you, 1320 Wolf. I might actually have to find a way to finagle, weasel my way into an Amazon trade. Also, Apple, let's see what's Tim cooking here. Apple, okay, 1320 Wolf, you know my sweet spot here, because I like these ranges. I also like with that Apple initially bouncing off the VWAP quite nicely. Now having these little bounces here off of this 9 EMA area, kind of a flat top at that 172 area. So yeah, I think there's something brewing in both of these, and I want to definitely take a look at both of these further to get levels I like. I have no problem trading this if I really see stuff I like, and I also want to take a look at Etsy, because Etsy was what I was kind of looking at earlier, and I think it was on the 3-minute on the big desk. Yeah, so I like that we had a little bit of chop and turn earlier. We gave up a lot of that. Now we're trying to climb back above the 9 EMA. I'm not really seeing anything in this now, but it was an earnings name I wanted to revisit, so happy I did. About 20 pennies in le money for Soxal, so ready to find a way to deposit the remaining third of my shares for a profit as we get close to 35.60s. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm looking at shorting the soft one over here, as I've been saying, and now I am officially short the soft one. So we're short at 28s. We'll see what we can get here. I mean, we're curling a little bit. I see goggles on the way down. I see Apple on the way down. You just mentioned the Amazonian as well on the way down. So we shall see a nice, all right, head back down, soft one. All right, there we go. So we just wet our beak there for a nice 20-penny pump, or dump, excuse me.
So you're saying pamp it.
Yeah. I know, right? We'll see what we get here. We're doing these topping, no, I don't want to call them topping tail candles, but dojis, not really making higher highs now. I'm going to try and see if I can stay in this trade without getting strong-armed. But yeah, it is coming back up. I'm going to pack my patience. I think I should put a stop at the $0.75. If it breaks above that $0.75, then I don't want any of the smoke. We will not desire smoke at those levels. 397, and we'll put like 82 just to protect ourselves a little bit if it gets a little bit spready. All right, Google just tanked. So I'm happy I played that range while it lasted, but there it goes. Flat bottom break through the volume weighted average price. Essentially, it was a 165 or a VWAP flat bottom break. They're awfully close to one another at these levels. We're like 4 or 5 pennies off. But yeah, there you go. You had originally higher lows on Google, and then you kind of got that stagnation where we moved sideways. Now look out for a 165 reject and dump, or a VWAP reject and dump. Now that we used it as support, now does it act as a level of resistance? That will be the question. So leaving that softy trade in with the stop already instituted, and looking for a curl back down, maybe into the volume weighted average price on softy, just a smidge below 397, maybe that 396. I already took a beak wetter on it, so de-risked a little bit there. All right, so let's have a look at Apple. Apple's interesting here because what I see is a compression pattern on Apple. I see these higher lows and these lower highs, and I say to myself, okay, the range is getting awfully tight. Well, we know that the range is wider in the more voluminous time of day. I'm talking,
like that.
Yeah, that 9:30 time of day. It's going to be, you know, the ranges are going to be a lot wider. And as the volume drops off a little bit, the ranges tighten up. So there's nothing unusual about that. But let's Let's see if we can profit off it. So is it going to respect these trend lines that have drawn to the top side and the downside here? Let me make them a little bit thicker so that everybody can see them over here. There we go. All right. CGC people are yelling? I mean, let's have a look at the weed. Let's have a look at the weed.
Growing like a weed.
Growing like a weed, baby. CGC. All right. Thanks, Fabian. No, CGC is a little too consolidated for my blood. But it is trying to hold that $11 area, CGC, so not a bad look. All right, so I'm going to leave that as it is. I'm not going to trade CGC. I'm going to focus on the soft one. We're in the money nicely, but I'm looking for more. I'm greedy. So let's see what we got here. Akash, what's up, Akash? Tesla near 180 again. Yes, sir. We were just talking about that, about being a bit of a resistance level. Now that it broke below it, it's now using it as that resistance level. So we'll continue to keep eyes on that, Akash. Yeah, I saw both your messages, my man. All right, let's see what else here. Yeah, I was talking to Rohit as well, and he's like, patience is key, hard when your stock is going down. Rohit, you are not wrong, my friend. And you know, it's a lot easier to say be patient when it's not your money. Couldn't agree more with you, Rohit. The thing is, though, put in that stop, right, so that you remove the emotions out of it, or to the best that you can, right? So if you put that stop and that stop doesn't get triggered, or you put that profit taker and that profit taker doesn't get triggered, the reason I say put those out there is that you remove that subjective, impulsive decision making. Oh, this is good enough. And you start trading your P&L. No, you like that profit taker. You like that stop loss area, I'm assuming, based on technicals. At least I hope so, right? And if that's the case, stick to it. And come what may. All right, we did really well here on the soft one. We took it out at 397 with that 38 short. Please, this dang punch, as my friend Adara likes to say now, so we'll see what we get here. Amazon on the way down, breaking through volume-weighted average price.
Yeah, Ahmed Alwala, thank you for the $17.99 AED super chat. TQQ, opposite Microsoft. I hope you win, Adara, laughy face. Yeah, no, I lost on the TQQ trade, but I'm happy with how I traded it. It's, again, like having levels that you like, right? So I liked that 52-55 area on TQQs, and it was holding up decently for a spell. I like that we had these higher highs, higher lows. I was like, look at this little candle bouncing off that level. I was like, okay, TQQs, do your thing, 21. I want all the smoke. And then it turns out I actually did not want all the smoke. Maybe instead I wanted to vape because I did not want all the smoke. And we did fall here. This is exactly the level I wanted to get out, around that 38s, because that was an area we previously had a nice little bounce off of. It was a bit of an area of resistance earlier. So I like that level. Trade did not work out. I am down on the day, but as I always say, maybe not positive in the account, but positive in my mindset.
Love it.
I'm ready to keep going. I did have a SOXL winner, though, so I want to talk about that. Because I was happy I did not take a SOXL on SOXL. I did end up I should have probably, I wasn't going to hold, but I should have scalped out a little bit lower at 65s. Got out the rest of my position at 78s for about an 11 penny winner, so still happy with that. Took about 20 pennies on the bulk of the position. If we keep falling lower here, rejecting off that 80s level, I'll keep going short. I do like SOXL. As Sharif was mentioning, we were talking about this a couple days ago. I've really been enjoying trading the ETFs because I do think they give you some opportunities if you want to take a wider market move. So I have no problem trading this SOXL if it gives me something I SOX like. But right now, I'm just going to wait because I don't want to SOX lose if I get involved a little bit too earlier or too early. Come on, Tesla, break 180, says Laura Bennett. Everybody wants the Tesla. Everyone wants the Cybertruck. Tesla's like, come on, guys, there's enough of me to go around. But yeah, right. Oh, trying to break even. We're basically flat. Oh, this is nice. I'm going to have to switch to my TSLL. There could be some opportunities here if we keep curling to the high side. We're trying to break above this 180. Shout out to everybody in this name. I'm sure you were all watching with bated breath, as am I, and I'm not even involved. But Tesla really struggling to have that move to the upside. It's not doing a roadster 0 to 100. It's kind of more like trying to charge at this charging station. So we're gonna have to wait and see what we do here at the TSLA because that 180 is a struggle and a half.
Love it.
How are you doing?
Good. I'm trying to not laugh as much, but you keep dropping jokes. Jay Lee, shout out to Jay. So we're gonna talk about what Jay just wrote here, and I've got the Carvana chart up because I want to talk about Jay's trade on Carvana. He didn't give me levels or anything, but he's like, I am down on Carvana. Just thought to share my lesson with everyone. It's dang important to get stopped out and take a small L instead of allowing it to be a big L. Sometimes difficult. Wiser words were never spoken, Jay. Thank you for putting that out there. I don't subscribe to the no stop loss gang. I am the stop loss gang, and I'm very proud to be the gang leader of that gang because, quite frankly, I want to have an account to be able to trade. I want to be employed. If you take these big L's, you're going to either not have an account or not have a job. So do what you want. All right, so the soft one, looks like we took that out way too early. On the way down, go softy, 396, sorry, yeah, 396.5. It was doing the, 397.5 curl and dump. That's why we got short right there, started putting in those topping tail candles, doji candles at the 50 period with the lower high, keep in mind, right? So you did get that initial pop into 398 and 2/3 over here. So this would amount to a lower high, and it would maintain the trend of lower highs and lower lows on the soft one. We do have, though, price action support at 395. So if we do make our way into 395s on Microsoft, I will be going long, looking to go long is what I should say. I'm not going to have a resting order right there because I think it's good now. I need to see it good then. 395, I'm going long on the soft one, but right now this was a good analysis and a poorly executed trade on my part as it gave you much more. I see here on my side chart that 180 rejected again on Tesla for how many time now? Well, we'll say this is an initial 180 rejection because it got it to $0.75 once, twice, 3, 4, 5, and you guessed it, 6. Now rejecting candles that have closed below $180 on TSLA ever since breaking down below that level. HOD on TSLA, 184 and 2/3. So Tesla, be careful though. The thing about this 180 rejection is that this is the look. Higher lows, so you could get that flat top break through 180. Looks like, these dips are getting bought up, so I think we're probably going to get a 180 rejection at some point here. Otherwise, we'll just curl back down. Yeah, that's it. Oh, we didn't go over the small cap gappers.
Oh, I'm
so sorry. How dare I? All right, here we go. Thanks, Fabian. Is that Fabian? It is Fabian. All right. EBS, good looker here. Big time mover on my scanner. This cool boy over here is up 116%. Let me give you the deets. So the market cap, 218 million. The float, 51.5 million shares. It's doing the dance with $4 and has been doing that said dance since 10:40 this morning. $4 seems to be a good area of support, but alas, with these ones, they usually flat bottom break. Keep your eye out on 380 if $4 gives way at least for a micro scalp, as it may get a bounce off the volume weighted average price. So $4 right now, absolutely holding up, and it's giving you like 20 penny moves, so you can load up. It's done quite a bit of shares, guys. This one's done 110 million shares on the day, so there is ample amount of volume to take big boy size at the whole dollar level and play the range. I'm not telling you that that's what you should do, but I'm just telling you the volume checks out. That's number one. Number two on the small cap gapper list, ASPN. This one, another real good looker over here. Let's have a look at ASPN. Hey guys, chart. 2260 HOD. This one here as well, 1.75 billion market cap. The float though, 74.1 million shares. It does have a headline, but really is not all that important at the moment. This one seems to be hugging that magnetic effect that the one that Knob always talks about with the 10 period moving average, which, as you know, is the solid green line on my chart. Right now, it is very much near high of day. And what I did like about this too is it did hold up at that initial area of resistance. For whatever reason, 2150 featured here on ASPN. So when you came back down to retest those levels after the break, it did hold up there. But what I would be looking for is something off the 10 period. VWAP on this one, just a little bit below 21.25. ASPN looks awfully good. CYCC. This is a holdout from yesterday. This bad boy started moving around noon yesterday. I remember this one on the midday. It got a bit of a bull flag looking chart right now. It is above the volume weighted average price at $2.82, but the volume is dropping off and we're getting decidedly lower highs. So be on the watch for this one. This one could give way and absolutely tank. The last one over here, sorry, I got two more, not last one. Yeah,
So
there's a
many
lot.
today.
Yeah, you even walked over here and you told me there's a whole lot, right?
Pitney Bows.
There you go, Pitney. Yeah, this one makes that coin machine, or that, not the coin machine, the letter makes those stamp things, right? Yeah. The PBI, good look here. Closed out yesterday at 420. Shout out to Ram. No, this one moved up aggressively there through the day, broke through $5 like it was nobody's business, and now we're knocking the door 5.25. VWAP on here 502. Okay, and then I'll just leave that one. The volume is a little bit suspect on it. Last one, Adara, GCI. Nice big move above that 240 close from yesterday. Got up into almost 319. Sorry, we did get to 319, almost 320. We're at VWAP right now. It looks like it's respected VWAP for the majority of the day. There is these two outlying candles here at 10.05 and 10.10 that did break but held up at the 10. So those are the small cap gappers that I've got on my chart right now that could change as the day goes on. Adara.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the life choices that were made here in Soxel, and let me tell you why. So I was like, hey, I'm going to get short. I went British there. 35.65, that was the goal. Then I got out because I didn't like that VWAP bounce. And I was like, okay. Then I get in this, and it's like, looking at this now, Adara, this actually kind of looks bullish because we do have that VWAP bounce still. This is a very bullish looking candle. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, Adara, look where we bounced off of, not just VWAP, but that previous support area. So this does look a little bit nasty. I'll be happy to scalp this out if we get below 35.65s. Initially, the plan was to risk this into 35.80s because that was a level earlier. But at this point now, I'm like, if I don't feel confident in trade, why the heck am I taking it? So we're just going to scalp this out now. Please just punch. Took a couple pennies. I think the biggest thing, and I've done this before too, where it's like I've done this, I get into a trade, and then I kind of realize this is not really the vibe. And so I do a vibe check, and I say, you know, that's why you always have to zoom out. As Neil says, when in doubt, zoom out. I didn't do that here. If anything, I zoomed in aggressively so, and then was just so indecisive, it just didn't work for me. If we keep holding up at this level, I'll go long here. Or, you know, if the reverse, if the short does hit, we go short, but I just don't want to be in a trade I'm not comfortable taking. You know, I just have to be honest there. So happy I took a couple penny winners, but also very proud of myself for just recognizing I had to say bye-bye. The relationship wasn't healthy, so I had to give Soxel its things, put the box at the doorstep, and go move back home.
Remember what I told you yesterday when I came in about?
Oh yeah, about someone. Oh, okay, yeah. She said it looks like somebody got like.
Someone got booted. I think they got deboot because someone's stuff is outside our office, and it's like their bathroom things, and it's all new stuff, clothings, and I don't know, man. Anyway, not really my issue. Guys, we are almost at 450,000 subs. I can't stress enough the importance of getting to 500,000. But first things first, guys, we want to get to 450,000. Do we have a running ticker, guys? Production team, do we have a running ticker for our subs? I'll give you guys a second to do that because Brendo wants to do that. So yeah, like, subscribe, and share with your friends, guys. We cannot grow this channel without you. So please, yeah, support Adara and I, Sean, Neil, Brendan, Ram, the Chilean Nightmare, even Mark, who I see right there. Mark would like your support as well. The most, I want to say, the most unique skill set on an individual that I have seen. I've mentioned this before. I'm going to mention it again. Shout out to Mark. He programs, and he's a hell of a woodworker as well. Shout out to him. Hell of a guy. All right. Yeah, so guys, like, subscribe, and share if you can. We want to get to about 450,000 subs. And yeah, it'll be good for the channel, Adara.
It will be good for the channel. So shout out, please do like and subscribe. We have so much fun being here. We love sharing this with all of you. Also, I need to stop looking at Soxel because I got back involved in the short because I did like it. I mean, to be fair, I'm really happy with how I managed this. Took a couple pennies, got out, but it's like, Adara, if you didn't like it a minute ago, you don't like it magically now 1 minute later. So anyways, indecision. Still up on this name, though. Really happy with what I did with it. And the biggest thing, I talk about this a lot, the biggest thing that I found has led to me having more success in the live or since going live has been minimizing the L's. So I'm still up on Soxel because I was able to minimize that loss. Look at this, guys. Almost, oh, we just lost a subscriber, but almost 450,000 subscribers. Definitely help pump it up here.
You know someone was doing that to troll us, right? Like, you can just tell someone was doing that to troll us.
Thank you to Athena Galvin. I love your name, by the way, Athena, Goddess of Wisdom. This channel is amazing. I love the education pieces you guys do each day. I think what's great, too, is Sean and Neil, and Sean will talk about this a lot as well, same with Neil having his lesson of the day, but Sean will always drop a little bit of wisdom inherently within his, just as we're talking, right? So
yes.
I think that's really cool as well. We have the formal education and also some informal knowledge just with everybody as well. Also, happy I got out of the stock sell short. I cannot look at this guy anymore. Out of sight, out of mind. But NVIDIA actually might have some little scalpy opportunities that I like, because apparently all I'm doing is looking at semiconductors and I have problems. But NVDA, I did not think you'd laugh that hard at that. NVIDIA, about
Stop, bro.
I mean, I'm
trying to
flattered.
catch my breath.
I just talk a lot, you know. But NVIDIA, the range per candle, to use a Sharif term, is quite intense on NVIDIA. What that means is, in whatever time period, there are a lot of people doing a lot of buying and or selling and or both. Right, so this range per candle on NVDA with that VWAP bounce, 845 all the way up into 848.50. That is a 350 range on a 5-minute candle, which for NVIDIA isn't too crazy, but it is worth noting. That being said, if we keep getting these VWAP pops, VPOPs, I'm okay with taking a bit of a range scalp in there. I don't know how much this is going to be, but on NVDL, you could probably take this, like 75s all the way up to, I'll take that. I'll take 25 pennies. I have no qualms. So we're going to get involved in NVDL. I'm going to take a little visit to some of the other stocks I missed, but shout out as well to Affirm, because Bonkzilla mentioned Affirm. I was not able to get involved in the firm, but shout out to Bonkzilla calling out this beautiful move in Affirm. Also, Amanda Woody saying, let's not forget the amazing resources we have in chat too. I agree. So many great resources, great ways to get stuff from people in the chat. And I mentioned that yesterday as well in the market recap. Shout out to, I think, Passover Trader giving me that Pfizer trade yesterday, which I was really happy I was able to take. So we always shout out the chat. Great community to be a part of.
No question about it. Well, doing well. Taking a short on goggles at these levels. I got long here because it was a support level and we wet our beak on some profits. I'm taking it short and I already wet my beak on some profits because it's an area that I looked at as a support level. Now I think it's a resistance level. I'm talking about 165 or thereabouts. I'm looking to wet my beak on some profits if it is able to make its way down into 82s. I took some out at 90. I'm short 99. So we'll see what we get there. But the market is putting a bit of a candle right now, trying to hold, a green candle, excuse me, trying to hold 17.5. We'll see what happens here with Google. It looks like it's a little bit strong. I mean, it's not tanking in the way I expected it to tank. I thought we would touch at least 80s or 75s by now. But I guess the market doesn't work off my timetable. So too bad for me. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if we get that fill at 82. I've already de-risked a little bit. So, all right, let's see what else is going on here. What else do I like? So I noticed that Tesla had another rejection at 180, even though we were talking about these higher lows. You did get a perfunctory break of the level, guys, at 180. I think we got into 180.12, 180.14. So if you gave it a little bit of room, and on Tesla, you really should, you were able to get another $1.50 if you held to the bottom there, as it did reject and make it down into that 178.50. It does look like it might be getting a little bit of a bump up now, but it feels like we are stuck in this range a little bit on all these names. I mean, look at all the Mag 7. So this is the Mag 7 and then the NQ in the top right-hand corner. I don't really see much of a trend on any of these names. I do see good areas of both support and resistance, but you're very sideways. You're up a little bit on Amazon, then down. You're up a little bit on Apple, then down. Tesla's just been, you know, kind of down to the right and then sideways now. Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, all very zigzaggy. So the trend not really in force today, at least on the Mag 7. We'll keep an eye on that. But I know from listening to the Big Kahuna's trade this morning that the Chinese ADRs are awfully strong, Adara. So we're going to have a look at those. Unlikely for me to trade them, but we will look at them nonetheless. XBEV looking like the best right now in Chinese ADR world. Up and to the right, it is printing at day's highs as we speak. $9.06 is the best this has done on the day. And this is the 5-minute look on XBEV. The better entries, I would say, is to wait for a 10-period retracement. I made this point yesterday. I want to make it again. It's a lot harder to shadow these these EMAs or VWAP or whatever technical indicator you're using if you want to get a dip trade there if you don't have the following features. So I basically have this buy feature or sell feature that I can drag on the chart. So as the exponential moving average moves up or volume weighted average moves up, I can move up as well with my entry. So look at this. So for example, I have it on the 20 period, right? No, I changed my mind. I want to go to the 10 period dip. So I can do that right there. If you guys have that option, I would suggest you use that to help you shadow some of these moving averages. Otherwise, you're having to cancel your order and then re-enter your order every single time. I don't know if that's very time-wise. All right, let's look at the soft one here because it is finding, for whatever reason, again, support at 396. So it had a bit of a resistance level at 396. Now it's acting as support. It's kind of like that shelf effect, right? You have that resistance level initially, and then you break above it, and now you use it as support. You break below it, now you use it as resistance. I don't know why I called it the shelf effect. It feels like it's shelving a little bit with sometimes acting as a top and sometimes acting as a bottom. So right now, Softy seems to be getting bought up of 396. I would look for something like, initially I would look for a VWAP rejection or a 397 rejection, but if it really kept going, I would look for a rejection at the 2/3 of a dollar owing to that crest over here. Let's see what else the chat is yapping about over here. Sharif, can you wet your beak Amazon long? Wet my beak means I'm taking profits in a position that I'm in. So I'm not in an Amazon long, so I can't wet my beak.
He could dip his toe into an Amazon long.
I could dip my toe in an Amazon long, but it would have to set up a dare. So we'll have a look at that.
No, I'm not saying you should.
What do you say, Fabian? All right. What else we got over here? Yoel Reyna. When you and Adara LePage set stop losses, do you set it just for that given day, or do you set a stop loss for days at a time? So one thing I should probably tell you, my friend, is that we have to be flat by 4:15 p.m. every day. And we can't even trade after 4 unless we get permission. 4:15 is the last print. Otherwise, the computer will shut you down, or you'll be locked in to the following day. And that's a whole thing, paperwork and stuff like that. So when we're doing stop losses, it is always intraday. We are always trading with the firm's money on an intraday basis. We may trade our own stocks in our own accounts on whatever time frame we so choose, but that is really not your question. Your question is, do we use these day stops? All right. What are you looking at, Adara?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to read a question, but
it's okay. So I am in Pfizer. I'm in a short on Pfizer. Yesterday I took a long on Pfizer, but today I liked a couple things on Pfizer. I couldn't believe my eyes. We had a little bit of a rejection here at that 27.50. Look where we're now rejecting right below VWAP. Confluence at 27.50. So I like it. I'm trying to take, 27.51, so I'm trying to take about 9 pennies here. That previous base support, 27.42s. I see it. I like it. I want it. I got it to 7 rings by Ariana Grande. We're just going to take about 9 pennies there, so not quite 7 rings, but happy with that. Then we're going to save pieces for dreams. I'm going to be eyeing that 27.30 area, so that's the plan for this trade. I know someone earlier, I think Adib was mentioning Pfizer in the chat. Pfizer initially was really strong, and I liked a potential long opportunity if we bounce off of VWAP. Alas, we did not. So I wanted to take the opportunity to short this guy off VWAP. We're also right now kind of hanging out below this 9 EMA, flirting with it. So I want to see what we do here. About 1 penny in the money, so nothing to write home about or scream excitedly about, but it was something I was watching. NVIDIA also, I still have my eye on it, but I'm a little bit cautious because I don't feel really strongly now about that VWAP balance. We are getting a little bit more waffly. I want a little bit more indecision. We know what I like. I want the swiftness and I want the viciousness. And if a stock isn't going to give me that, especially as a scalper, then I can't really, I don't really feel the impetus to get involved. I am still looking for things. If anybody's seeing anything moving, of course, always let us know. I'm always so grateful for the resources we have in this chat. But we'll look at some of these earnings names to see if they're shaping up. Etsy, we did have that 9 EMA bounce, but now we're kind of seeing lower highs. We've had kind of 2 bearish ish candles in a row here. So we had that topping tail candle S up into 61. Then again, 60s. We decide, not really. So let's look at Wayfair as well again too. You know, we had a losing trade on Wayfair, but if there's something that shapes up, I have no qualms about getting involved. This is maybe spicy. Wayfair might have that VWAP bounce. I tried to short this earlier to no avail, but I'm happy with how I managed it. I am down in the day, but always up on attitude, and bullish opportunities. Opinion on the Qs, says Chill Vibes, wanting my opinion on the Qs. I would love to give my opinion on the Qs. So I tried to go long earlier off of this little bounce area. It didn't work out, and I should have noticed this too, because I said after the fact, look where we rejected on the Qs. That's right, where we had previous support in the pre. So that was a bit of a previous support, if you might, because support in the pre-market. But alas, did not work out here on TQs for me. That being said, if we reject again off this 5280s-esque level, where we had that previous support, that could be a nice short for me. Right now, though, I am seeing a VWAP bounce and also higher highs and higher lows. So really, I think the only thing that would be my clear indicator to take a short off that area, for my purposes at least, other than this level, would be I feel vengeful. So I'm not going to take that short unless I really see it shape up. And even then, I would only be scalping. So TQs right now, I think it is at a little bit of a decision point. That VWAP bounce, though, quite a beautiful look. That's
I like it. I'm liking NVIDIA here, guys, and my hesitation cost me a really good entry. I'm not trading NVIDIA. I'll be looking to trade NVDL, but it's just, yeah, you know, I'm not going to chase it, so it's going to have to come into a dip. So I'm going to put my dip on NVDL at 35.01. So if it retraces and holds the level, fantastic. If it doesn't, and the reason I'm getting into it is because of what I'm seeing on NVDA. We're getting that bottom, rounded bottom. Shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. He's not with us, I think, in the chat today, but he sent me some trades earlier on the gram, so I will share those with you guys. 845, as Adara astutely pointed out, is the volume-weighted average price on NVDA, and as you can see there, we held it very nicely for an $850 stock. We didn't break it even with a wick, except for one 5-minute candle here at 11:30, and that took us a smidge below VWAP, but still held the 50. Anyway, now we're knocking the door of that $850 area, and so you're kind of getting that roundedness, and that's a good look if you ask me, really. We do have price action resistance for whatever reason at this 851, but it's on a closing basis. The real topping tail candles took us into 856, 857 territory. So we shall see what the deal is there. Alas, I'm still unfilled on the NVDL dip trade to defend 35. So yeah, this may go without me, but that's kind of the cost of doing business over here. The trade on NVDL, in case this triggers, is going to end to the south side if we break 3480. So that 3480 area is that key area of support. It acted as a level of resistance earlier. You see over here, we can break through it. So if I do get filled at 3501, doesn't look like I will because it's getting away from me here, 3480 is the line in the sand where I'm going to get it. Oh, there he is. Big Kyle Burdett, $4.99 super chat. Shout out to Big Kyle. Hey guys, in the garden this morning again, hoping to make it to the desk for the afternoon. Kyle, thank you for joining us, despite the fact that you are doing your thing 21 there in the garden. And I want to show, do I have Big Kyle's pictures? Yeah, I do. I'm going to show it in a second. Well, that's a beautiful looking backyard and an even more beautiful garden you got there, Kyle. I'm going to show that in a second. Big boy garden for Big Kyle Burdett Adara.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for some opportunities. I am taking my slightly salty TQQ short, and I say slightly salty because, or like lightly salted like potato chips, my lightly salted TQQ short. And I say lightly salted because, as I said, I was a little bit bitter, perhaps, about this whole long opportunity because I was like, I should have gotten involved because we had that rejection there. But it's like, Adara, we have that rejection now. Usually, it's not even that salty. I just think it's like trying to take advantage of opportunities.
Yeah, you're
you know
not
what
even
I mean?
salty at all.
So maybe it's not even that salty. Maybe I'm being too salty to myself. But we're risking 10 pennies. If we break into that 5280 area, it's over. I'm out. I'm going to say goodbye. We're going to have an acrimonious divorce from the TQQs. Actually, it won't be acrimonious. I'll just leave. But that's going to be what's happening here on the TQs.
Are you going to be on talking terms?
Probably not. I don't want to have to like go to court and settle like a custody agreement or anything. I'm just going to be like, bye. But hopefully it lets me leave, because sometimes these stocks can be a little bit like, we've had that both happen with NVIDIA, where you just try to get out and it's like, it keeps you there. So in all seriousness, hopefully we're able to extricate ourselves. I did like this because initially we did get up there and we struggled a little bit. We dropped a couple pennies. I said, Adara, go after what you want. Try to get this TQQ. Try to form a relationship here. So we'll have to see if this ends up coming to fruition. Apologies for the weird analogies. I love a good mixed metaphor, and I certainly share maybe too many of them here on this show. But let's see how these TQs go. We are, we might need to leave, but we're here for now. What else? Tesla happening. Okay, we're gonna get out of my little TQs.
Manage it, and I can take
over.
over.
Oh, perfect. You have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I do. This is Ram or Chilean Nightmare. Or it's Ram now. Nice. Okay. This is Big Kyle's backyard over there, and beautiful looking dog. Big Kyle, if you can hear us, what are you planting in that nice little garden you got over there, my man? Looks like you have that whole thing done up well. He does, Adara, eh? Look, got fencing so he can like hang his plants on it. I absolutely love it. Big piece of land for Big Kyle Burdett. I like the net there too, my man. Shout out to the Midwest. Yeah, good luck for them. All right, guys. I mean, I'm upset. Let's call a spade a spade. I wanted that 35.01 dip on NVDL. It's about 25 pennies ahead of that now. Knocking on the door of a third of a dollar. It's about to break that third awfully close. So we shall keep an eye on NVDA, NVDL. Look, the market is now moving up. We're headed to the higher side of 17.5. I'm keeping my eye on the Mag 7. They're all curling up here without exception. They don't all have to be green, but they are all curling up. So keep your eye on that. If you are short, look for your stops. Make sure that they're sound and the levels are good. Fugazi Bear, $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much, Fugaze. Fat fingers and dip toes. Grab a beak towel. Beak towel, Big Cal knows.
Oh, it's a poem.
I know. Find a range on Trader TV. The Dollar Club is for me. Love the show. We're spending the money for that.
You have
Absolutely
to do the slam
love it.
poetry style.
Yeah, man, this is good.
You have to do the snaps for slam poetry.
Ah, yes, I love that. It's been a minute since I've watched any of that.
Also, yeah, hit the subscribe if you want to join us every single day. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We love being here. We love dropping hotlines, making puns. I did divorce the Qs, unfortunately. Day Trader Cut saying it has to pay me alimony. Yeah, I'm not that bitter. It was a pretty, honestly, not too big of a deal here. But also, I got out, and now it's like, actually, I am rejecting the 5280. So now this is where the divorce might get acrimonious. No, I'm joking. It's all good. I know I do have really high stops, and I mentioned this in the past. But I think if I would rather risk my 10 pennies or my 5 pennies than end up risking, end up having to lose a lot more, right? Because if I lose a little bit less here, then I'm more empowered to just try to make another trade. Siri, I wasn't talking to you.
Excuse me, mind your own business there.
But anyways, yeah, so Siri acting up, and the TQs were as well, because I actually think they might still have that rejection off the 5280. But if I get back in, it will be with a better state of mind and a little bit less grabby, because I think I was a little bit, for lack of a better term, I think I was a little bit too eager to short that the first time. I'm also still short Pfizer. Somebody in the chat mentioned this looked head and shoulders-y. I do not disagree at all. And I think what's especially interesting is the area where we rejected on a closing basis exactly the same level, exactly that 2750 area. I like this. I want all the smoke. No vape, all smoke. Look at all these bearish candles we have in here, trying to get above VWAP and failing. I like this. I'm only risking 5 pennies here. If we break, look at this little area above here, 56s. If we break above 56s, I'm out. I'm trying to make minimum 9 pennies on this, so I'm okay with that risk to reward ratio. Small risk, hopefully trying to make some reward. Also, Manuel Palma mentioning Riot, and I haven't looked at a lot of these Bitcoin names in a while, so I should look at that. Riot holding VWAP, waiting for BTC to break. This is a nice look. It's a nice look, Manuel Palma. I'm gonna have to look at this. We did, the only thing that makes, just for my purposes, because I do think it's a solid trade, but in terms of like myself feeling comfortable getting involved, I don't love that this area is where we had that previous support. So previous support in VWAP at the pre, coming here around 1010s. I want to see a lot before I get involved. But I mean, shout out to you. I do think it's a nice trade. I just always have to make sure that I have my own parameters I'm comfortable getting involved in for those reasons, if that makes sense. I might take a bit of a look at IBIT as well here, but mainly just please this punch. I'm involved in Pfizer. And what TQs now you decide to reject? Ugh. They're being my problem child today. But I'm going to take a look back at SOXL, kind of circling back to the names I like. I've noticed I do tend to trade with a little bit less strength when I'm looking at too many names. So trying to hone in, focus on what I want, and try to make the money. How are you
I like
doing?
it. Well, I'm looking, people were talking about Carvana here. They were saying it was tanking. So I looked, and yeah, sure. I mean, it's off that 122.30. But let's be real, guys. It's not tanking, relatively speaking. In fact, it's a bit of a range. On Carvana right now. And as soon as I said that, I looked over. It is a very expensive name, and I realize that, but there does seem to be price action support generally in that 116. Now, there is trouble with that kind of thinking because you have these outlying wicks at times that come into 115. All the closing prints, though, north of that level, more towards 116. Then to the high side, you very much have a 121 top, and that takes us all the way back into the morning. So I don't think Carvana is tanking. I think it's kind of fixed within a range. Am I going to take this as a range trade? I am personally not going to, just because, number one, of the spread, number two, of the price, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, what I did notice with this one is that the price action wasn't necessarily making any lower highs, but we get incrementally lower highs here on the RSI. So that initial pop in the aftermarket yesterday took us into like well oversold territory, I think in the 90s. Yes, 93 at the high there. And then this morning when we popped in the pre at around 6 a.m., we had an RSI print of 94. And then when we popped again at around 9, the RSI dipped even more to 75. And now that latest pop into 122.30 brings the RSI down into, what is that? 68. Okay? Yeah, I know. Sorry. 68. So, you know, we talk a lot about price action, RSI divergence. This is obvious on the 5-minute. What to do with it, an entirely different story, but be cognizant of it. RSI price divergence on the VANA at the moment. Carvana big boy earnings yesterday resulting in that pop that we're talking about right now. So, all right, guys, the Meta's pumping here, and so is the Amazon as well. We're not really getting anything else in terms of a pump. In fact, NVIDIA was curling up, and that's why we were moaning about our missed NVDL trade, but it is finding resistance at 850. I'm talking about NVIDIA. What is pumping up now is Amazon and Meta. A bit of a pump right now, too. Not much on the dead one, Apple. It just knocked on the door of 172, excuse me. Wow, 122, can you imagine? 75. I hope I don't foreshadow anything.
Don't foreshadow.
Yeah, I hope I didn't
reporting
foreshadow.
tonight?
Exactly, that's why I'm saying that, right?
Don't.
It's not going to be 122, but it could be a bad miss, like 150-ish, you know what I mean? Like that's realistic.
Yeah.
Anyway, curl on these three names here, Ram, the L, we have Meta, Amazon, Apple, all to the high side at the moment, stronger than the other three or other four, excuse me. Look at Softy come back down again off that 397 reject, 397.5. So the soft one has been rejecting that 397.5 essentially since we started the show. And right back down it goes. It gives you about $1.50 worth of range on Microsoft if you're looking to play that 397.5 resistance. It gives you about 396, or it did on previous occasions. But as you can see, these bottoming tail candles denote possible strength at the 396 level. So, yeah, could go long there as well. We'll keep an eye on that. Not much else. Katina, man, is anything on your side over there? The Katina man is starting another short on AMD at around 145. He's not 100% sure about it. He wants me to look at Baba. Let's have a look at Baba. Baba was the monster today. I heard the big kahunas talking about it all morning. Wow, Baba. Okay, so this one is really going here. Okay, and Neil was talking about this one possibly being a breakout on the daily. And I've been handed the sticky note. Sorry, I got it. Uh-oh. Got to burn that now, Katina, man. It's like the flag. Baba. 77L long, looking for breakout on the daily as we speak. So strong, might need to fight with lower support at 76. Could be. Love it, man. Look at the low of the day. I'm sorry, it's 77.16. I mean, he had it. Yeah, I mean, bro, it's pretty much it. So the Katina man, shout out to him. We're on our way up. It looks like here into $80 or thereabouts. We could be at 80 quite soon. 79.78 ADR, about 18 pennies or so to hit that $10 level.
Yeah, Baba's a nice, that's a nice, Baba Black Sheep. It certainly has some longs. Yes, sir, yes, sir. So nice look there for BABA. I got involved in Soxal. Little bit of a chase here because initially I wanted to get involved 35.78 for the long. But then it would give me 35.79's bounce. So then I try, I'm like, okay, Soxal, I understand what you're trying to say. Let's try for 39.79 now. Nah, it wouldn't work. So I had to do 39.80, or 35.80, so slightly higher than I wanted to get involved by 2 pennies. But I'm like, I'd rather miss out on 2 pennies of profit than not get involved in something I really like. Now, why do I really like it? We did have that rejection, which I don't love at 36, but the move down that we had here was not the same as this move down we had earlier. That was a lot steeper. There's a lot more swiftness. We're also bouncing beautifully at the 9 EMA, which is something I like. Now, even if I only scalp this up into 36s and I take my 20 pennies, I have no problem. I like ranges. I love a range scalp. And if that's what Soxal, if that's all Soxal is going to give me, so be it. Pfizer, though, deciding that despite its bearish little pattern and its ability to break above VWAP, thinks it might like to be a long, which, like, you know what? Okay, Pfizer, do your thing, 21. If you want to get a shot in the arm to the upside, nice vaccination up and immunizing this for the shorts, that's fine by me. But I want to see us keep rejecting that 53, 54 level, which we have so far. That being said, we are tilting a little bit upwards off of this base, which is where I wanted to take some profit. So this might not work out the way we wanted it to. And I'm willing to get out if I need to get out. Like I said, still down on the day, but certainly looking for new opportunities. And, you know what? Like the thing is too is I had a good day yesterday, and a lot of that was one trade. But you just have to look at every day as a new day, and also what we have every day for a new day is going to be a new Neil's lesson of the day.
Welcome to your lesson of the day. Not brought to you by lunch because I haven't had my lunch yet, but we're going to give it to you guys anyways. I often get asked this one question. It's like the most common question, or one of the 2 or 3 most common questions. It's like, hey, what trading books do you recommend? And I always say the same thing, and it's not a trading book. It's something called Thinking in Bets, and it's by Annie Duke, who's a poker player, if anything. And the whole story behind it, or just the Coles notes, is it's more about evaluating decisions, because in poker, all you're doing is making the best odds decision each time. And the cards are going to lie where they're going to lie. And it's a game of chance with some skill involved, but you're not going to just, because you happen to be ahead in the hand doesn't mean you're going to end up winning it. So you have to learn to judge your decisions by whether or not it was tactically correct based on the situation. So you don't want to be resulting in that case. If I go all in with 2-7 and the other person, well, let's just say I call an all in with 2-7, which is even more stupid, and the opponent has aces, even if I flop a couple of deuces and end up winning, it doesn't mean I made a good decision. In fact, I've made a bad decision, but I win the hand. So resulting would be when you are judging the decision based only and solely on a single result. Because if you do that with deuce 7 versus aces over time, you're going to lose. I think in trading, you want to be able to do the same thing. Because it's really easy sometimes to just look at, hey, this one trade worked or this one trade didn't work. I should just not do this ever again, or I should always do that trade. So try not to engage in resulting. Now, there's a couple of examples that you can use here, and I'm just going to go over to SMCI because this is something that happened yesterday. Now, my trades aren't going to be in here from yesterday, unfortunately. It would be nice if I could show you the execution, but I'll run you through it. So SMCI was an SSR bounce play for me yesterday, and a lot of times the strategy is to go for the big even dollar level. It came in, made a low at 720. I got in. Now, I didn't end up holding it through the low because I was playing the higher low here. So I got out for about a $3-4 loss, actually just under $4. And it did end up giving that push back in. So there's 2 things I can do in here. I know that I ended up getting a losing result. However, in a scenario where I gave it to the actual low against my rules, so if I broke my rules, I would have won on that trade. And the problem with that is if I make that same trade over and over and over again, I know that it's going to result in buying a dip into a ridiculously weak stock, having it run my stop to the downside, and potentially do what it eventually did, is go down to 700. Now all of a sudden I'm getting out in the air, which instead of controlling to a $4 or $5 loss, which is reasonable because VWAP was up there 15, 20, so risk to reward it's good. I don't know where you're getting. You could be getting out at 10, you could be getting out at 7. You just don't know what you're going to be losing in that situation. So that's a pretty big case of something that could have easily worked. And someone mentioned it in the chat that, hey, it would have been $8, $9 in the money if you just diamond hands it, Neil. Well, I would have violated those rules, and it could have worked, but I would have been resulting by banking on that and saying that was a good trade. So it's always important not to just assume because something that you did was a positive result that one time that you want to go ahead and do it over and over and over again. If anything, I think that's almost not the case. Now, fast forward to today on SMCI, and you can obviously see the clear difference. Every single time that same setup comes in here today, it's SSR again today, by the way. It bounces, makes a low, puts in a higher low there, puts in a higher low there, puts in a higher low there, goes all the way into VWAP. Now you're going to notice I said trades don't show up the previous day, but our trades do show up on the current day. So had I a single winning trade on SMCI today, or a trade at all, you would see it. The other side of resulting is if you have a bad result, but you followed your plan, it doesn't necessarily negate your overall strategy. In this particular case, I don't take SMCI when it shows you some similar setups in there, and then it's a pretty clean win. And again, this is not about trying to rewrite the gospel or anything, or trying to show you a new strategy, but do not throw out good trades or good setups or good ideas or things that have worked for you because of one bad result. Do not get too excited about a winning result where you had to break your rules. It is so easy. Oh, I lost in this stock, I'm not going to trade it tomorrow. Oh, I won in this stock, I'm going to trade it the next day. Focus on what works for you. If trading a specific stock off support and resistance is your bread and butter, then regardless of what you did on it the day before, say a breakout trade didn't work on NVIDIA, but you like its support and resistance. Breakout trade didn't work, well, you still should be taking your A+ support and resistance trade the next day. It doesn't matter what your result was on something else that was adjacent but not the same thing. An SMCI, okay, so I had a bad result, but I followed the plan, then I should just try to follow the plan again today. It doesn't really matter. Don't get involved in resulting on single instances, because then what you're doing is all the lessons the market is teaching you over the course of days and weeks and months and years, you're throwing them out the window because of a single result. Now, the only way that you should care to play deuce 7 against aces is if you're playing a deuce 7 bounty. I love that game in poker, but the reality is it's the worst hand in poker, and there's a fun game that people play with it because it's the worst hand in poker. When you have a situation to get your chips in good, you should always do it because that's the way the game is played. And when you have a good setup, you should always take it regardless of what happened before. And if you have a set of rules, you should always follow them regardless of what happened before. You're going to have wins, you're going to have losses, but you should judge strategies based on the entirety of their sample and not just one instance. That's your lesson of the day. Do not engage in resulting. It can lead you into a lot of trouble, and go armed to the downside. Take it easy, guys.
Shout out to the Neil. Thank you very much for your lesson of the day. As I always say, eloquent, informative, and awesome as always. Neil Roberts, baby. Catch Neil's lesson du jour. We used to call it Neil.
The real deal.
The real deal with Neil, which I liked, but we were overruled, so it's all good there. Guys, the dead one, AKA Apple, is, awake. at the moment. It just put in a topping tail candle there, possible doji candle at the $0.50. Not a level that I really had ready as a level of resistance, but now that I look back, we did have some price action resistance here at the open. Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons, the IB high, taking us into 172 2/3. And then at 8:40 a.m., right after we got all those jobs numbers and some of the data there, we did top out on a closing basis at 172.55. So 172.50 could be an intraday top. At the moment, we'll have to pack our patience and wait. All right. Multiple trades here on NVDL, both profitable. We took initially that hold at the key level as it started moving back up, what our beak was some profits, and then it came right back down, got stopped out on the remaining amount, which was a minority. Then it dipped into the volume weighted average price, so I bought it again and scalped out again. And now we're looking for a VWAP hold. If it doesn't hold VWAP, that's the end of the trade. It's as simple as that, okay? On NVDA, a bit of a double top though, guys. Keep your eye out on that 152, 852, 850, 150. There does seem to be a bit of a double top at this level. You can see it here on NVDL at 35.30-ish or thereabouts, okay? So there is a double top brewing, and it looks awfully similar to the future. How many times have we said that lately? The overlap, the confluence between the futures chart and NVIDIA, and that was definitely not the case in the past. Here's what I'm talking about. A pop, then dip, and then you have double tops on both of them. So very much in line with the future today is NVDA, and you're not seeing that pattern on all the names. You see it on some, like on the soft one on Amazon, this double top looking area over here. So we'll pack our patience on that. Right now, about 2 pennies out of the money on the remaining amount there on NVDA. Looking for a VWAP hold. All right, quickly, I mentioned this earlier. BABA, $80 resistance possibly on the day. We could be there in short order as where did we get up to there? We got into 79.88. So we're 12 pennies away from that level. We're currently printing at high days. You're not going to see me stand in front of this monster. It's far too strong on the day. But if it does find that level of resistance and prove itself by curling back down, we'll look to participate rather than anticipate an $80 rejection. So keeping an eye on that. And that's really all I'm looking at the moment, Adara. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a little bit of disappointment, but also more opportunities, because that's how we've got to fix it. I will say, and I don't know if I've said this, but I've certainly said it in my own head, I find I trade at the worst when I am a little bit tired. And right now I'm feeling that just a skosh. You know, if you feel the lightheadedness in your brain, and you do things like what I'm about to show you in SOXL, which is get in and out of a trade for basically the same reason. And it's like, why did you think that if you punched in 2 seconds later, it would be different? Observe all of these different punches on this 1 5-minute candle. Get your life right, Adara. That's what I have to say to you about that. But you know what? It's all good. It's okay. We're ready to make some new trades. I am, like I said, down in the day, but my spirits are never to the downside. We're always bullish optimism. Although someone was saying, you know, in the chat, like, optimism can't make you money. I do agree. But I think having that right attitude can help you make the steps, make the decisions that make you the moolah. So really happy with that. I think one of the biggest things too that Neil said that I want to echo is each day is a new day. I was really happy with the trading I did yesterday. Not able to replicate that today, unfortunately, but I'm also not trying, you know, I'm trying to look at this as a new opportunity. I want to continue from the gains I made yesterday. Right now, not doing that, but trying to find trades that work. Also trying to drink some caffeine so we can get that brain fog out of here, because I do definitely 100% make the most trades. And I'm more prone to fat fingers when I am a little bit sleepy. But I like this TQQ bounce right now. I want to play this range. I did miss this short by like 2 pennies. I was a little disappointed, but you know what? Use the disappointment to fuel a new trade. That is what I'm trying to do. Yes, Qs, listen to me, please. There we go on that trade. Also, Pfizer is doing nothing. I still have nothing to report. Pfizer's taking her sweet time. How are you doing? Good.
I want to talk about this goggles trade that I had while Neil was dropping hot lines. I looked to defend that 164.80. Call me crazy, but we ended up getting wicked in there, and then we wet our beak nicely there for about a 17, 18 penny winner. You know, true to form, it continues to go without me, so that's all good there. I'm looking for another possible 165 and a fifth. 165.25 rejection on goggles. That has been, you know, a local area of resistance here. As you can see, these topping tail candles, much like the topping tail candles that we put into the half dollar a little bit earlier. Look, I'm disappointed in myself today, not because I'm red, but because I'm missing good trades. Tesla, again, rejected 180. I even looked over to the Katina man. I'm like, Apple's going and Tesla's rejecting 180. And so I didn't take the trade. Sadly, I was trying to keep my eye on NVDL, but this one gave you yet another move down. You took a buck there, more than a buck, in fact. I think this one dipped into the low 90s, 178 low 90s on TSLA. This one could get going, though. Let's be real about it. It's putting in higher lows. That 180, we've been dancing with it all day. We could give up the ghost at 180. We've made our way into the 50 period. That seems to be at least the real line in the sand. If that 180 level doesn't hold, the 50 period here, you'll see on the 5-minute look, 3 topping tail candles rejecting off the 50 period EMA. So a good looking possible rinse and repeat type short on the Cybertruck. We'll pack our patience. We'll see if it makes its way back up there now. The dead one did reject 172.50. So that level that we earmarked was right. 172.50 acting as a local level of resistance on Apple, at least to the top side. So if it makes its way back up there, I'll be aware of it this time. It seems like, to be honest with you, the majority of the bottoming tail candles, save and except for this outlying event over here, seem to be bouncing off 170-150. So in reality, we are kind of locked in a dollar range here on Apple. You're not getting the touches at 172.50 and 171.50 on every peak and crest and trough. You're not. But when you do look at the majority of where the candles are holding out, to the top side and the bottom side, it is at 171 and 172.50. So we'll see if we can rinse and repeat that trade now that we have those levels earmarked. The other thing that I want to mention, the Amazonian is back at the volume weighted average price, and there's a bit of a tug of war happening right now between buyers and sellers. 2 doji candles in a row at VWAP. That usually means, you know, some pull, yeah, 2 dojis, Katina, man. A bit of pull and pull from buyers and sellers at these levels. We'll see how it resolves. But the fact of the matter is, it's taking the double doji. I'm surprised Adair didn't come up with that.
Yeah,
double doji. Double
doge.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually a good one.
Like triple.
I double dog dare you, but
Yeah,
it's double
like that
doge.
movie, yeah.
Love it, love it. All right, the other one here with respect to the ranges, because that's what we're dealing with today with the Mag 7. Soft one is at the low end of the range here, 395, 395.25. Here comes 395.5. We've held up at this closing print yesterday of 394.90. Every single dip on Microsoft today. But keep in mind, lower highs coming in. This is an interesting range trade here on Softy.
Yeah, really quickly as well, I want to talk about Pfizer. A lot of people mentioning Pfizer did break out. Congrats to anybody who was long this. I was short and I wasn't able to get out as quickly as I wanted to, so I take an L, not because I lost in this trade, but because I should have been way more prepared for it to shoot up like that. Didn't lose too much on it, not a huge position, but also still disappointed in myself. But you know what, I always like to use the disappointment as fuel to keep going to the upside. I did not see any news on this as to why. Oh, never mind, just came in now. Josh Brown doubled down on Pfizer. So speaking of double doge.
Calm down, Josh.
Hey, you know what, Josh Brown? I watched your podcast this morning with Art Hogan. I support you and Michael Batnick and whatever, all your other people. And I'm like, and how, now you guys do this to me? No, I'm joking. All good, all jokes aside. Shout out to anybody long Pfizer. I know there are some people long Pfizer in the chat. And now the TQQ is going a little bit higher. So TQQ is giving me a little bit of a consolation prize. Like, oh, Adara, that Pfizer didn't work out. I don't know why it talks like that. But now we're gonna give you a bit of a boost. So 15 minutes in the money. And you know what? I like to use these. I like to use my L's as lessons. And I want to use this to give me an opportunity to find something else that works and get involved and just manage the trade better, because that was my mistake with PFE. I say to myself for PFE, and I'm only ready to go higher. Speaking of going higher, Boeing up almost 4%, pardonnez-moi. This one continuing to fly to the upside. No fuselage problems on this chart. And it's odd because there also was the death of another whistleblower, so it's interesting that this one's going up.
Are you kidding me?
That. Yeah. Second Boeing whistleblower dies suddenly from mysterious infection.
Oh, come on,
so,
guys.
RIP whistleblower Joshua Dean in all seriousness. Hopefully you are all good.
That is, that's a
Joshua
wild
Dean,
one.
like, you know, in all seriousness, RIP to that man.
No, but that's just kind of weird.
That's kind of crazy. And this chart is up to the upside there.
All right, I'm getting out of NVDL here at 35. That was my mark, and I'm done with that trade. Nice 20-penny winner on NVDL. Also, the other winner we have on right now, we got a nice winner on the soft one. We talked about that 395 range. I took it and wet our beak nicely there on 20 pennies. Now I'm looking for about 40, looking for that 396 touch. Got it out in mid-90s, looking for that fill. We'll have to cross the spread on the soft one right now, about 5 pennies or so. Not bad for a $400 name. We'll see if we can get that continuity through the top side there. On Microsoft. I haven't called it Microsoft in a while. Okay, okay.
It's been the soft one lately.
It's been the soft one. That's all right. We'll look for continuity, but this has been a range day on these megs, okay? Because, well, have a look at the charts. You're not getting really direction. A lot of zigzagging. Plenty of zigzagging over here. So we'll play what the market gives us. If the market gives us ranges, we'll take ranges. If it gives us trends, we'll take trends. Whatever the market, it lemons, and I will not make lemonade. Ah, Katina man.
How dare you,
Shout out to
Sharif?
the Katina man.
Squeeze those lemons. Make that lemon.
Squeeze those lemons, baby. Shout out to Sean, man. Good vibes, Katina man. All right, looking for that continuity on Softy. Alas, it's not forthcoming at the moment. What else is there? Guys, we're curling right back into 180 on TSLA. And this has been a 180, either 180 or a 50-period rejection. Currently, the 50 period is sitting at the $0.25. So 180 and a quarter has been a rinse and repeat. 180 to 180 and a quarter has been a local area top on TSLA. That has been the case essentially since we dropped below 180 at around 950 this morning. So we'll keep eyes on the Cybertruck today, and we'll look to participate in that range that it's possibly putting in. Apple also dipped in off that 172.50 touch, which we identified as a local area of resistance. It did hold up, though, at 172, trying to break into 172 and a fifth right now. So look at this, guys. Look at this 172 local top over here. Now we start taking the local top and using it, yep, you guessed it, as a local bottom. But, yeah, we'll keep eyes on that. All right, I got to start the lesson. So I'm going to send it to you for a sec so I can put my softy out, and then we'll see what we get here.
Yeah, don't be too hard on Softy.
Yeah.
Take the outs, take the beak wetters there. Yeah, TQ's happy with this, took out part of this position, but now I'm looking to add it because I want to take some profit, but it's like if we bounce off this 49s again, I do want all the smoke. I'm willing to take this 90 MA bounce and take this all the way up into 5280s. I'm trying to elevate my trading style a little bit, right? Hopefully elevate and not, you know, desecrate, but I'm still new, so I want to try new things, right? You don't really know what you like until you try, right? That's why, you know, picky eaters like, oh, I don't like this food. And I say this as someone who's really a picky eater as a child. It's like you haven't tried it yet. How do you know you don't like it? So how do I know I don't like, there we go. We're adding to this position. If we break decisively below 30s, I'm out, but I'm willing to kind of keep adding and subtracting and building a position in the TQs. You know, earlier I did divorce the TQs when we broke above that 80s I like for a short, but you know, we're having conversations again. We're trying to move back to the upside. And I'm making jokes, you don't want to marry a stock, right? You just want to find movement you like, take advantage of it for the time being. Right now, I do like what I'm seeing on the Qs. Aspen, also that small cap, is kind of a nice look. Looks a bit rangy, but I also do not trust small caps further than I can throw them. And that being said, look at this little 9 EMA bounce here. I might need to get the small cap expert Sharif's eyes on this later, but I do like this kind of, this is something I think on this ASPN.
Look here.
I don't dislike.
Oh, you are not wrong. This has been one of my favorite ones. This
Yeah.
is a 10-period retracement, and the deeper retracements, I would suggest you go to the 20.
20?
So, yeah,
Okay.
so the 10, as you can see, look at my chart for a sec. Look at this. This is the 10, and it's every single retracement has come off the 10. Every
Yeah.
single one, right? So I like it, but careful with it.
Of course,
obviously,
yeah.
right?
That's the one. Yeah, but well, we're gonna take a look. We're gonna see if there's
Nice.
an opportunity there.
All right.
Thank you for that. But also lesson time.
Yes, ma'am. Let's get to the lesson du jour. We are talking about the gap and go strategy all week, guys. And we introduced the concept to you on Monday. So if you're unfamiliar with it, go back to that lesson on Monday, have a listen or watch. And yeah, just join us in progress. So today we're going to be talking about the 2-bar gap and go. And essentially what we're talking about is a 2-day play here, okay? So the classic gap and go strategy focuses on strong price movement within a single trading day. But what if you want to identify trends with longer legs? Enter the 2-bar gap and go strategy, a variation that leverages momentum building across 2 consecutive days. This lesson dives into this approach and how to spot the potential opportunities. So what are we talking about here? So beyond a single day, right? That's what we're focusing on here. We're focusing on a trade that spans over 2 days. So the standard gap and go strategy thrives on gaps occurring at the open of a trading day. While it's a powerful setup, it can miss trends that develop over a longer time frame, right? So the 2-bar gap and go strategy expands the scope by focusing on a 2-day sequence. So on day 1, what are we doing here on day 1? We are, oh, did I get filled on softy? Did I get filled on the soft one? Bang! I got filled on the soft one, so pleased about that. All right, let's continue. Yeah, the market's coming in, the Katina man said, so be careful if you are long these here markets, okay? So day 1, a stock experiences a significant price gap, either up or down. We go long or short in the strategy, accompanied by high trading volume. So that's what we're looking for on day 1. We're not going to take any trades on day 1. We're simply going to make the observation that something is gapping up or down with good amount of volume, and typically we want it to be on a catalyst. We don't want a technical break up or down. We want something catalyst driven. That's day 1. Day 2, the stock opens strong on day 2, and it continues the trend that it started on day 1. And visualization of this is this. So you have this initial gap from the previous day close. This is day 1. This is candle day 1 over here. This is candle day 2. This is what we'd be trading using this particular setup, okay? So why 2 bars? Why this 2-day strategy? So there's a couple of advantages. I would suggest to you there are 3 advantages here to trading this 2-bar gap and go. 1, you're identifying the momentum. The gap on day 1 signals to you the potential trend. The strong open on day 2 confirms to you its continuation. So day 1 signals the potential. Day 2 confirms to you that the trend is real and offers obviously a lot more confidence entering a trade. But it also helps with the reduced amount of false breakouts that you enter, right? So single day gaps can be quite fleeting, right? Waiting for a strong open on day 2 helps filter out those short-lived movements. I know I hate false breakouts. And then targeting news-driven trends. That's really what we're focusing on here. So news or earnings reports can sometimes trigger gaps. Watching for follow-through on day 2 helps identify stocks with potentially sustained momentum due to the news. So that is really what it offers in terms of advantage. So putting it into practice, how are you going to do this? Again, on day 1, you're scanning for those gaps. Get yourself a good gap scanner. It's tougher to do without it. What you do here is you basically load up all the parameters that you want. You want something over a $50 billion market cap. You want something doing more than 1 million shares of volume. You enter all the parameters in the scanner. But what you're looking for is this column right here, the gap column. And that's what you're going to be able to filter out using. This is what you're looking for. Typically, you want something in mega cap world to be gapping 2 to 4%. It's not a hard and fast rule. You can insert your own parameters. But day 1, you're scanning for the gappers. Day 2, focus on the day 2 open. So the next day, observe the opening price and the volume. Look for a strong open that continues the trend that was initiated on day 1. And then step 3, you're entering your stop loss, right? Once you see that strong day 2 open, consider placing a limit order slightly above or below the day 2 opening price, depending on whether you're going long or short. So for the longs, you're placing it above the gap, slightly above the gap. For the shorts, you're placing it slightly below the gap, right? And always set stop loss orders to manage your potential risk. And here's a little bit of an example that I want to give. And the reason that I want to give this is because I want you to be able to visualize it. So imagine stock XYZ gaps up on $2 on day 1. So it reaches $15 with high volume. You haven't taken a trade. You've watched it go up to 15 bucks. On day 2, it opens up at 9:30 a.m. at $16.50, and it continues to trade higher. This strong day 2 open suggests an uptrend continuing from day 1 and that it might hold. So you could place a limit order to buy just a smidge above that $16.50, aiming to capitalize on the continued momentum. That's basically, in a nutshell, what it is. And some considerations that you need to take into account when you're trading this style of setup. Patience is key. This strategy requires you to sit on your hands on day 1. You can't trade this particular name that you're watching, the gapper, on day 1. You've got to watch what it does, and you've got to wait till day 2. That's easier said than done for a lot of people. Also, you have to consider the fact that, yes, you are trying to avert false breakouts by taking the trade on day 2, but that there's no hard and fast rule that there won't be false breaks on day 2. So even strong day 2 opens can really result in false breaks. You need to be ready for that. And you also need to take into account that not every gap is going to be tradable. So not all day 1 gaps lead to trends. Analyze supporting factors like news or the technical indicators to get a better picture there, Adair.
Thank you so much for that lesson of the day. Yeah, some people saying in the chat as well, they think it's a nice strategy for sure. And yeah, I think what's interesting too is it does show you, like, we talk about day 2 plays a lot, right?
Yeah.
So if that gives you, I think it's another way of looking at those day 2 plays, looking at, especially if a lot of these gaps are going to be catalyst driven, right? So it also helps you separate the wheat from the chaff and look for these really strong plays to look for. Like, a lot of these small cap gappers are not going to give you that 2-bar strategy, let's put it that way.
No.
But if it does, then it shows you this could be a strong name. So that's exactly the point. It kind of helps you separate into these interesting looks. I have no trades right now. To quote that old Beyonce song, I have nothing. No, I'm joking. I have lots of energy still. I just don't have any trades, and I am down on the day, down on my luck, but never down on my energy. I should have just scalped everything out here in the TQQs. I feel like the moral of my story is I just need to scalp more. It's like, why? Just scalp. When in doubt, scalp. I should have taken the whole position out in the TQs, would have had a winner. Right now I am down on this name, but I do like this short off that VWAP. If we come back knocking on VWAP's door and VWAP is like, no thank you, bye-bye, then I will go short here. That's what I want. I also like the Snapchat short, which I am like definitely not getting now. We are too far gone. So far gone, I guess. Shout out to Drake there. But I want to take this short at 1606. I noticed this a couple pennies too late because look at that breakdown there. We're decidedly below the 90 MA, and then I want to add at 1608 planned DCA.
Nice.
If we break above that 1611s, bye-bye, Audi. But I don't even think Snapchat's going to let me any because I think we are just too far to the downside. I'm not moving my areas I like either. I'm happy with these areas. I really would like TQQs to swing the door open and let me in so I can say hi. Take that short.
Moderna's really going here. I didn't even realize that we had earnings on Moderna. So
yeah,
many,
wasn't
Adara,
doing much
I
this
can't.
morning.
Yeah, good call. I'm not blaming you.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's
yeah.
weird because it wasn't doing much this morning and now it's like.
It's pumping right now.
Yeah.
I guess this is an after the bell play here. Yeah, Moderna, the COVID, who remembers this, right? I remember trading this February 2020, I want to say. 30, yeah, I have it on my story, so I can actually confirm the exact price. It was like $37 or something. And who remembers where this one went to? It went to, well, it went to 500 bucks. Yeah, just 500 bucks. Yeah, Ram. It went August 2021. It hit 500 bucks. So yeah, that was a good little time there. Anyway, Moderna looking awfully good on the day. Beautiful VWAP dip here took place midday, 11:40, 11:30, and then boom goes the dang dynamite from there. It held 118, and now we're knocking the door of 123, 122 and a third, high of day at the moment. But keep in mind, that there's a bit of an RSI price divergence as well. Again, you know, when we talk about price RSI divergence or we talk about any technical indicators, the lower down on the time frame you go, so say you come from a 4 hour to a 10-minute, the higher the failure rate for your analysis of the technicals go. So if you see price action RSI divergence on the 4 hour, it means more than when you see it on the 5-minute. And currently, I'm looking at it at the 5-minute. So this one could give us nothing. Based upon this divergence, I would say if you're going to weasel your way into this trade, this 121.50 looks decent. Reason? Because you had that double top crest there, and that's a price action resistance. We've cleared that now by over $1 and a third. So if we come back into 121.50, it also is the 10-period moving average. And not that really, you know, it's really respected the 10-period moving average all that much. It breaks through it here. We'll see. So what I'll do is I'll put an alert for Moderna at, I'm going to put it just above the $0.50 so that if it comes down into those levels, I'm notified and I can make the decision of whether or not to trade it. But Moderna, good day, almost 10%, 9 2/3 at the moment in the green there. All right, let's keep looking out here. So I was going to say to you guys, NVIDIA 840 defend on that little VWAP break. So this is NVIDIA. We've been putting in lower highs all day. We had support at around 845. It was really VWAP here that was holding us up. And then we started breaking down. This candle over here, I said to myself, all right, look, you better be ready for an 840 defend. Because look what we did all morning, except for this area over here, which is, you know, the bamboozlement area. 840, 841 has defended all morning on NVDA. So I was interested if it made its way down there, but it looks like it's a bit of a bottoming tail candle. This might be a nice move up here on NVDA. Yeah, nothing that I really like at the moment here. I'm going to pack my patience and see what else.
Pack that patience. Yeah, no, seriously, like, I think my biggest thing is just the last 2 days, so yesterday and today as well, my first trade I took of the day was probably a little bit too speedy. I rushed into Pinterest yesterday, and it just did not work. I thought I was Pinterested, and I really wasn't. I didn't have levels that I was Pinterested enough to justify getting involved. I'll stop. I apologize. I'll stop making those puns now, everybody. But not all puns, just the Pinterest ones I just did there. Also, now TQQ's chasing me out. I'm like, ma'am, please. So I got involved in this short because I liked that we had that break below VWAP. I was like, let's try to do this again. We still have lower highs, mind you, but we keep being extremely bamboozling on these here cues. These cues are about to be my worst name of the day. And that wasn't initially the case. It's like I still stand by the long. I just didn't execute it properly, the second long here. This short was a great idea. I was just a little bit late, and I know I had a really tight stop on this. I stand by the tight stop, but really what I should have been doing is getting back involved when I noticed that idea, that rejection of that 5280 was working out. That's really where I think the problem was there. Not getting involved, but the fact that, or not my stop loss, but the fact that I didn't get back in later when I saw more evidence. So if we stay below that 90 EMA, if we keep this lower low, I'm still in TQQs. We're gonna have to play a limbo here, see how low we can go. But I have to say, I don't want to see how low my profits can go. That's not very good because we are down in the day. But like I said, always trying to find more opportunities. It's only been my third week going live, and I feel like the biggest thing is, you're not gonna have a winning day every day. My thing is I just want to make sure that my winning days outnumber my losing days, and I don't lose more than I gain. Today is not my favorite day of trading, I'm going to be really, really honest, but I am happy to be able to share everything I'm learning in real time with you guys. I got out, I did not like this break above here, so happy I got it where I did. Trying to work on that trade management and always trying to make more moolah. John Szymanski says not Pinterested at all. Yeah, that's fair. I guess it wasn't very Pinteresting. Good times there. Also, there is, thank you so much, Andrew Chow, saying I keep it fun. Yeah, I like, these markets can be intense, so it's nice to have a little bit of levity, have some opportunities, but I still don't have much I really, really like. I missed that snap short, so I just was like, we're still on my side chart if I see something I like there, but right now, what's SOXL doing? Let's see am I gonna knock my socks off? Let's see what it's doing there. Bless you. This might be the VWAP short to shore. Forget you, TQQs. I like this 35.50 VWAP, actually. So we bounced here earlier. If we reject, this is where I'm going to get involved. Bless you. And yeah, I think I just want to see stuff I like. I think the stock style to me is a better sign than the TQQs. Also ignore this very weird random in and out I was doing. I was trying to find my way. I think I have maybe found it. JF Trader saying, I think he meant you keep it pun.
Ah,
So thank you.
like
Shout out to
that,
JF Trader with the puns. We love puns over here. And I see you got involved in that tasty. I should have kept Aspen on my
Aspen. All right, I'm gonna try it, Adara. We're gonna give it the old college try, and we'll see. The whole point, again, guys, is the 10-period retracement on this monster. We're long 96s. Let's see what we get. If we get a nice move up, I'll be happy. Otherwise, you know, I've already put my stop in on this monster. Let's see if it can make its way up. The spread is opening up a little bit now, not to my liking. 11 pennies is not what you want to see on a $23 name. That isn't the look. That is not good for your profit taking. That is not good for your stop loss either, because it could blow through your stop if you're not careful and give it enough room. So we'll see if it holds up at the 10 period. That is the look. That is my attempt. But alas, this is a small cap gapper, and you know, if there isn't bamboozlement on this, where is there going to be bamboozlement, right? So the whole point, again, is this 10-period retracement, trying to get in on the 10 period and continue to the high side. That is the theory, or that is the plan, I should say. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, too bad. The other one that's maintaining its presence above VWAP, by other one, I'm talking other small cap gapper, is CYCC. Now, the volume's dropping off a little bit here, but it still seems to be tradable. CYCC. I gave the deets on this earlier. Silacell, whatever, pharmaceuticals. It's a $3.8 million market cap. Oh my goodness. All right, $3.89 million market cap. It's a 1.2 million share float. So yeah, that is awfully small. Be careful with this one, but it is giving you a good chart pattern in the sense that it is curling that rounded bottom off a key technical support level that is a volume weighted average price. We shall see what we get on this monster over here. CYCC, it's not a monster. Good look there. PBI, I remember, I don't know who it was in the chat, pointed PBI to me. It is also going as well. This one is a bit of a volume suspect as well, in the sense that it's not doing a whole lot. But when you look at the chart pattern on a bit of closer basis, it looks great, right? Holding the 10 period like a glove, and even when it breaks below it, it's like their perfunctory breaks are not even that deep. It doesn't even come close to VWAP. Last time this monster touched VWAP, 945. Up and to the right it goes. PBI. Not CPI. PBI, baby.
Not BPI.
Not BPI. Definitely not BPI.
But PBI.
Yeah. BPI is doing things, but where is BPI?
He's not back.
Yeah, he's not back there. He's probably doing things. So we'll keep an eye on those two. Let's flip back to the large cap, the Mag 7, and see what's popping off. Oh, okay, so Apple looks like it's headed back into that 172.50 area. That's been a short the top all day on the dead one. AAPL reporting today at 4:30. Catch that with good vibes. Katina and Adara Panera, they'll be on that from 4. I think it reports at 4:30. We already mentioned this. Yeah, 4:30.
Yeah,
so it'll be towards the end of the show. But make sure to stay around with them, because Apple's Apple. I mean, everybody wants to know what Apple's going to do. I'll be holding my breath. I'm not going to lie.
How do you like them apples? Well, the thing is, too, is it's not just Apple we have tonight. We have DraftKings tonight.
Woo.
We have Coinbase tonight. We have Monster Energy tonight. We have Expedia tonight. We have a lot of things with large expected moves tonight. So stay tuned. Sean and I are going to bring the heat, the sizzle, and the steak.
Let me bring that to everybody's attention. You brought a really good point there. Thank you. So what she just mentioned is very important. Expected moves. What are these expected moves? They're based on options volumes, and it's based upon what you're expecting the stock to move on earnings, whether up or down. Let's go. So the way I want to show them, Ram, is to go to Market Chameleon. You have to log in, but it's a free account, so you don't have to pay for anything. You go down to up to the earnings tab up here, and you click calendar. You have to log in for this, okay? And then as you'll see here, look at this Apple expected move, 3.9%. Essentially, that's plus or minus 4%. So it could pop 4%, it could dip 4%. And one thing Danielle Shea, shout out to her, brought to everybody's attention when she posted on this, if the stock remains within that expected move, so if it stays 3.5% plus, 3.5% minus, there's a good chance it can mean revert, right? When it breaks either north or south of that expected range, chances are it doesn't revert. So you got to be careful and know what the expected move is and then watch to see what the stock is doing before you can participate in the trade. So this is what we're talking about here. It's the expected move. It's a very good tool to have. Also, keep your eye on options volume. If there's a lot of options volume on the name, that means there's a lot of interest on the name. And likely, if you're to go to the options category, you'll see a lot of open interest at that particular whatever strike is important to the market there. So keep your eye on that. It's a really good free tool to have. Market Chameleon, we're not sponsored by them, but they do provide a decent look there. All right, come on, Aspen. I'm waiting at 6s. If you can just print above 6 so we can wet our beak on some profits. The ask is showing 6, but the bid is still at the $23 area as the spread is opening up a little bit here at Dara.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Aspen, hopefully the tree doesn't fall down there and it gives you a nice move to the upside there on Aspen Aerogels. Soxal, what are you doing with your life, man? Okay, there we go. There we go. This is what I want. I wanted that VWAP projection. Got into the short. I said we'll give this into 35.56s if we break above 35.56, which is kind of that bottom earlier, that support area. With a viciousness, I'm going to have to say goodbye. We got there, and then we fell back to the downside. I have to say it can be a little bit discouraging to trade when you're just not having your day, when you're not feeling 100% there mentally. But, you know, as Cindy Lauper says, don't be discouraged. Let your true colors shine through. Right now, mine are not, because these are not like the trades in my life, especially when it's like Soxal gave you that range. TQs earlier were giving that range. It just wasn't playing things to the best of my ability. But you know what? There's no time like the present to switch stuff up, get ready to go. We still have a whole day ahead of us, another hour plus here on How to Trade for some new trades. Also, shout out to Cop SRX putting some lines from Drake's Find Your Love in the chat. That's a shout. I got that song on my head right now. That's a shout out to you. And also shout out to Drake. That Drake era. Is the Russell is short right now, says Trinity R. Trinity 3R. Let's look at IWM. This is the name I used to trade more. Let's see what kind of hustle we have in the Russell. So this, okay, here's my thing with IWM. We did have that nice bounce off VWAP, and we had it with a pretty bullish candle, this wick to the downside. We are also trying to see a higher high break above this previous top at 98.60 that we touched twice. So I have to say, I'm not seeing a ton of bearishness for IWM. We're up over 1% right now, higher highs, higher lows. So I have to say, I would be a little bit skeptical right now for this IWM short. Not saying that it can't happen, but I do think that 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish candles in a row and that bounce here off the VWAP on the wick basics is, I think it's a really nice look. What is the reason that you only trade stocks, not an index this Terramite? I think it really depends on people. You know, like I've traded the Qs. I traded the Qs today, not to great effect. You know, Sean will be like short the market. He'll trade the TQs. But also, like, you know, I was trading the Soxal, which is an index, right? So it's like, for me, if I see something I like, I'll trade it. I have certain things I keep my eye on more, so I do watch the Soxals a lot as of yet, and the TQs. Sounds like somebody's printing. I am not. Soxals kicking me out here, so bye. I'm really not in sync with anything in these markets today, I have to say.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's all good. I want to, and now get out. Now the Soxals are rejecting. It's a little bit bamboozling, a little bit disappointing.
Dang it, Soxal.
Ready for the next trade. Where's the next trade? Obi. As Obi says, gotta find some more stuff. Brush that dirt off your shoulders. Shout out to Jay-Z and try to turn this trading from a Z level to an A level.
I looked back to see what Obi was doing, and Brenkel's just like, yo, he's doing homework. He's busy. So sorry to have disturbed the Ob, the one, the Canope. All right, guys, we wet our beak on some profits on Aspen, ASPN, a cool 52% pop there. Again, the trade, not complicated. And there was a great floor manager by the name of Greg. He said something that really stuck with me, and he said it 2 years ago, almost. And he's like, look, man, if the trade is really that complicated, that's really not, the trade, the idea should be pretty simple. If you can't communicate to me the idea of the trade in like a few sentences, it ain't it. I don't know if that's accurate, right? But it stuck with me till this day. And the whole point of this trade here is to get it off the dang 10 EMA, because it's been telling you all morning, I'm in love with this line. right? Every single time it retraces into the green moving average and bounces. Now, it's not going to do that forever, but chances are, you know, you're better than getting in a random area. So that's why I did that, and that was the whole point of the trade. Long 96s, printing 16s. We already wet our beak on some profits. Let's see if this thing can continue to move up. My stop is already in place, and nothing else for me to manage at this point except to take profits. And I don't really know where this is going to top out. In fact, let's do some daily charting on Aspen, see where we should expect an area of resistance. Okay, so it's very much at 2-year highs here. This is actually a decent looking chart. Okay, I have to interrupt myself here because Moderna just came into my level, and we talked about that level on mRNA. So thanks to the alert there that I set, let's have a look at Moderna. So yes, there it is. Now Moderna into that level that we talked about earlier, which is that 2 double top there that we put in, 2 candle double top at 10:30 and 10:35. We had price action resistance at 1250, and as quickly, 1250, bro, get it together, 121.50. And as quickly as we were down at 121.50, we held it and it popped into 122.70. So you're $1.20 already off that level. And I went as soon as the alert rang, man. It just doesn't give you the opportunity. You got to have a resting order, I guess, in this case. So Moderna, but $1.20 above where I want to get in. So that's not gonna work out there. So let's go back in a second here to go to Aspen because we were doing the daily chart on Aspen. So let's go back and have a look. So we're at 23.25 HOD. So we're well above that crest that we put in June of 2022. So what's next? This level. This is staring at me. 25 bucks, $25. That would be my price target. Look at that price action bottom there from around January of 2022 till basically March of 2022. 25 was the bottom. If it makes its way up to 25, fantastic. I'd love that. I'm just going to leave whatever piece I have left unless I get stopped out on ASPN. A decent move up on the day. I'm talking about 52 points. Not bad look at all, Adara.
Yeah, I mean, these markets are chopping and churning. Hopefully, that Aspen there, nice look on that. CQQs, still seeing my lower highs around a VWAP and a flat bottom. I don't know why I use that voice, but I still want to get back short in this. My timing's been bad. I have to say, this is, I think, the worst day of trading I've had since going live. I want to be really honest here. And I do appreciate it as well. You know, Sean and Neil will always say, shout out to them, that it is really hard to be a trader. And I want to say, I'm feeling that. You could have a good day yesterday. I was really proud of myself. It was one of my best days since going live. Today, I am down in the dumps, profit-wise, trying not to be mentality-wise. But you know what? And it could be a combination of things. It's just today, there were ranges. I just wasn't playing them properly. I was underestimating their power. I wasn't getting involved in things the right time. Stock sell now dropping, and it wasn't while I was in it. You know what I mean? So there's a multitude of factors. Plus, I'm a little bit tired. There's mental aspects as well, right? So I just want to say, being live, I think, gives you a different perspective of the journey. So I'm very happy and very honored that I get to be able to trade live in front of everybody and learn these lessons with people in the chat. Learn these lessons from Sharif, Neil, Sean, Brendan, Obi, everybody in the back. Like, it's a great community to be a part of, to have this learning in real time. So yeah, I mean, don't worry, we'll turn to a regular scheduled pun programming in a moment, but I did want to actually say that today has been rough for me, but I don't want to give up. If I see stuff I like, I still want to take it. So that's my little take on that. Sorry for the little a little depressing monologue on that, but you know what? I think honesty is the best policy, and I want to be honest about my trading today, because it did take out some of these gains. But you know what? I still want to grow. I still want to become better, and I don't want to give up just because today was a little bit rough. So ready to keep going, ready to keep climbing. PayPal getting ready to bounce, says Micah Melby. Let's take a look at PayPal, see if it's our pal. I mean, it sounds like it might be Micah Melby's pal, so shout out to you. Ooh, PayPal.
When you do that, Adara.
I know, Sirius always laughing at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green candles here. PayPal peeking its little head up above that 9, or not 9 EMA, I'm too obsessed with the 9 EMA. Peeking its head above VWAP. Still a lower high here, mind you, but we have had a little bit of a curl, a bit of that roundy face. Ooh. Shout out to Michael Noss and also Sharif for once calling it a roundy face. So that's why we call it roundy face over here now. Roundy bottom, what have you. We are starting to see that curl to the upside. I think if we get a nice little amount of volume here, because the volume's been pretty subdued in our pal PayPal. I think if PayPal can get that volume bounce with a viciousness, with a swiftness, what have you, and I think break above that previous high of 66.50, things could get spicy. So shout out to that. I am short LaQs. So we're going to have to see what the Qs want to do. Let's see if there's anything new in PayPal. I know we had earnings earlier this week for our pal PayPal. Not anything new today. Unusual options activity apparently. But yeah, PayPal trying to curl back to the upside here. Mike, I hope it ends up being your pal Tilray. Ready to blast, says Stephen Conlon. Let's take a look at this TLRY. Yeah, Tilray, I have to be honest, the volume here a little bit, and we are below that 9 EMA, a couple wicks above. But I think, yeah, I think if we can break above that 9 EMA, volume, we have a lot of volume on the day. I just think volume is a little bit, there's not a lot of smoke right now in Tilray. We need to, I think, get that smoke to get a little bit more green, hopefully make some green for the people. Not looking too dope right now, though. I see 2 trades for Sharif.
Yes, I'm about to take out the remaining balance here on Apple. We'll take 20 pennies like that. Look, I was late to the party on this trade. Let's call a spade because I wanted that VWAP dip. I want that all day, baby, on Apple. Look at that VWAP dip and hold. This is just beautiful. 171.93. I ended up getting in 172.08. I was really late to the party here, and then this hammer candle is just even better looking. So like this range play on AAPL, generally holding 172, 171, 90 there where VWAP is, and we just took 20 quick pennies on AAPL. So happy about that. The other trade that we're still nursing at the minute is this ASPN. Now, it's not popping with the same vigor. In fact, that 23.25 HOD has been in place since around 12:40. So we're going about 25 minutes here. We haven't broken the high day. Let's go. I'm saying that obviously tongue in cheek because you're not supposed to be breaking high day all day, right? Like,
that's a good point.
23.25 ADR. We're just barely above 23 right now, 23.06. So I'm going to pack my patience with this one. We charted on the daily. It looks as if there is room to 25. It may not make it to 25 today. We just finished talking about a 2-day gap go trading system, and so we could absolutely get this one moving continually tomorrow. And look, this is not a one and done. Look at the daily chart on this. This has a sustained uptrend that has been in place since August. Seems like we bottomed out here at $5, 5.5, bit of a double bottom. April and August, we couldn't break those levels, and it's been up and to the right since that time. So since August, we're up about 350% on this name. So this is not a one and done type name. This could absolutely be in play tomorrow. ASPN, yeah, keep it up on your chart. What do you have to lose if you're interested in small cap gappers? Anyway, respecting the 10 period on the 5 like a glove. We'll see when that breaks down. We got the stop in place, but we also have the, no, we don't actually have a beak wetter. We're going to let this one go. So leaving all that, let's see what else. Tesla, right back at 180 again. How many times are we going to reject off this level today? The deeper retracements have gone into about that 180.40. It looks like as if it rejected off the 50 period. This one also did a 180 and a third pop and drop as it's now right back into 180. So I'm going to keep my eye on 180 on TSLA. It doesn't give you that much downside. Like, we're not talking $3 a downside. We're talking $1, $1.50 at the best here. So look at this range. It's a 178.50 seems to be the lower end of the range since about 10.55 today. The high end, obviously, that 180 and a third, 180 and a half. It's above 180 right now. Let's see what it does. TSLA has been dancing with $180 all morning. So that is definitely on watch for me, Adair.
Yeah, the TQs decided to make this move to the upside, and honestly, in retrospect, probably should have seen it, because look at this. We had this move down here, this little bullish-looking candle that I got short on for some reason. Lessons learned. Lessons learned. Now, we see it again, bouncing off VWAP, but it's like a Dara. If this happened once and we went up, maybe the second time it happens, we'll go up again. You know what I mean? So happy with how I manage the trade, and also happy to have everybody here in the community. So if you want to join, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Join us every day. We are here every day. These markets are open. You can also join Sean and I after the close for the market recap show. We look at tweets. We look at earnings. We do a roll call that is very hotly anticipated every day.
Ooh.
And we have a really great time here. So we're so happy to be able to share this community with all of you. I love being a part of this community. And also, Donnie Zimbabwe, thank you very, very much for your $5 super chat. NVIDIA to 860. What y'all think? What did my peak at 850?
Nice.
Also, thanks for making my day interesting. Thank you for being here with us. We're always happy to, have everyone here. So happy your day got interesting here. NVIDIA to 860. So I'm happy you went to your peak at 850. That's a nice look. I think. Let me zoom in here. I want to get a look at this. I think that VWAP bounce is nice. I think if we make this higher high above 848s, which I think we're trying to do, that's nice. No advice, just my take on the chart. I think we really need to have that decisive break above 850 with a viciousness first, because we were kind of having a bit of a struggle here. I think that would be kind of my look right now. Let's take a look at the daily and see. Also, what time frame are you looking at as well for the NVDA? I think you've been involved with this on and off for a little bit, so I'm not sure if this is like a day trade or a swing trade, but I just want to make sure that my take on the chart is going to reflect ADR type properly, NVDA. But let's look at the daily on NVIDIA and see what's shaking with that 860 level. There we go. So NVIDIA on the daily, 860. Yeah, I mean, a little bit, what I honestly say maybe NVIDIA, a different area is that 857, because look at how much support we've had. I'm going to draw a line to show what I'm talking about. I know it's not like a fancy full dollar level, but look at this 857. We bounced quite a few times on 857. I think to me, 857 might be more of a level than 860. So again, no advice, just my take on the chart. I think if you're aiming for 860s, I think 857, even look where we have that bounce today in the pre, I think 857 might be a bit juicier of a level. So let's take a look at NVDA. I hope that helps Donnie Zimbabwe. Thank you very much for the super chat. Hertz Scrambler mentioning LLY. No one has to ask me twice to look at Lily. Let's look at Mademoiselle, who I've been neglecting. I haven't looked at her in a while. Let's take a look at Mademoiselle. How is she doing? Okay, she is headed to the downside.
Down.
Okay, what? Any news on her? Miss Lily? No, Novo Nordisk did really well in earnings, so maybe Lily's feelings got hurt. And it's like, oh, I'm good too. And everyone's just selling it because they're more excited about Novo. But yeah, selling, I have no idea. But that's the only thing I'm seeing right now is those Novo earnings that we got this morning. So we peaked a little head above VWAP. Other than that, though, VWAP projections, now we're touching off that 9 EMA, pretty weak. Only real volume pop we got here was going back to 1220, so mostly just straight downside for Miss Lily. She's quite far away to go. We're down $20 here on the day. Let's look at the daily chart on Lily to see what we're working with. This is interesting. We had kind of I did not mean to draw that line. I think really, to me, it looks like we're just, for whatever reason, butting our heads up against a wall at that 776 level. So you can see we've had quite a bit of resistance here in the past on the daily. Lily gets to 776, is like, not feeling it. Sells off there. I think if we stay above the 9 EMA on the daily, probably not a bad look. I think that 776, though, for whatever reason, a little bit of resistance. Right now, yeah, I mean, like I said, this has not been the day of my life for trading, but as Hannah Montana says, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody feels that way. So just try to make new days, make new things. I guess we probably do less than the day soon. I can't believe it's already 107.
Holy cow.
But I see you are in 2 trades.
Aspen, yeah. Okay, so Tesla looks like I'm going to get stopped out. Because, well, if it keeps popping here, we're trying to short the top end of the range because it's been a rinse and repeat on TSLA. If it stops me out, it stops me out. That's the nature of the business. But this is the level off which I'm working, and it's a key level on the day. We're short at 15s. Let's see what we get. We're printing 16s right now, so it did come back a little bit down. I'm looking to wet my beak at the whole dollar level. I'm talking about 180. If we get stopped out again, right? Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to complain about that? No, we're not. We're just going to let it go. At the moment, we're also holding ASPN for, I guess, the dream here, because we've been kind of doing nothing at this 23 teens, mid-teens, 15, 16. I haven't put a profit taker on this one. I've only put my stop because I did want to see if it was going to pick up towards, you know, the more volume-filled time of day to see if, you know, we could fill possibly into 25. The daily showed me a 25 resistance level, but it doesn't look like we're going to make it there today, which is fine. We'll pack our patience. All right, let's see if we can get some profits here on Tesla. We do get a beak wetter there. Let's come down into 180 Tesla. You know, stop making it so hard for me. There we go. So Tesla looks like it's coming down. Let's go, baby. Yeah.
I need you to say like, hey, Tesla.
What does Neil say? Give me, always gets, or something like that?
Yeah, give me, always.
Right. So we're waiting again here at 180 to see if we can get a nice little beak wetter. We're short 22s now on this name. Looking for, yeah, I guess a 180 break or 180, or at least a retracement into 180. But it looks like it's acting as if there is some support at these levels now. So I'm not 100% confident in this one breaking 180. You know, again, I put my stop in. Now the market is curling a little bit up here, which could be why Tesla's not, you know, respecting the level that has been in play all day. But we're at key areas of resistance on the future. And I saw Dan the Man Emmons talk about the oscillating VWAP, and I know what you mean by that. We're like this a little bit, and I get your kind of analogy or whatever that is, because, well, we have this very clear top on the future at 17, 5 and a third. 2/3, excuse me. So that's 67, 65, 63 area. That's been, if this area holds up here, it'll be a triple top. So good possible look there on these here. Oh, wow, I didn't get filled and it came down into 2s. That's so frustrating. I don't know why I have it right at the whole dollar level. That shouldn't be the case. And now it's popping right back up. So it's a bit frustrating there. All right, let's see what else everybody is talking about over here. Well, let's have a look at the chat. Havana Woody, Carvana will close under 90 tomorrow. I don't necessarily disagree with you on that. It's been, you know, it's been tough for Vana these here days. So we'll see. All right, nice. We did get that beak wetter on Tesla. So now how much do I have left on this monster? Oh, yeah, just a couple of shares left, and we'll see if this one can break 180 now that we've taken profits and de-risked. Samir, US 20 sell or buy? No. So US 30, excuse me. So US 30 is obviously the Dow Jones. Yeah, I haven't looked at the Dow lately, man. Good question about that. Let's have a look here at the Dow. Load up this chart. Let me bring it in.
I didn't know US 30 was the Dow.
Yeah, because 30 names. Yeah.
Oh, that makes, yeah.
Yeah. I know. I learned
just didn't
live
know
on the show what it was.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
And people were like, you don't know the Dow? Like, I don't know. It's down. It's a bit of a downtrend here on YM ever since we broke 40,000. This is the futures contract. This is not the index, okay? So the fact that we're above 40 here on a temporary basis, I don't want you to think I'm talking about the index. This is the futures contract, the June contract. It's lower highs and lower lows, my man, but there does seem to be some support here at 37.9. Essentially 38, 37.9. That's a bit of a local support. That takes us back to the middle of the month. So we really haven't been able to decidedly break below that. I mean, you can see this outlying candle here on the 18th when we dipped aggressively into 37.5, but look where the closing print is, above 38. That's not by accident. So 38 seems to be featuring here as a level of support, but keep your eye on these lower highs. So, right, you could have a flat bottom break, right, through 38. You never know. Again, you know, we'll see. All right, nicely in the money. We're 30 pennies here in the money on Tesla. So that's going to be the end of the trade. I'm really happy with this trade. It was one off that, you know, I planned. I liked it, and I'm pleased about it. So sending it to you.
Yeah, I'm pleased to punch for you. I'm just getting out of this. SoxL, happy. Oh my gosh, SoxL, pardon me. I'm happy I took the opportunity to get back in this when we did have a bit of a rejection, but the rejection didn't hold. We broke above 90s. I said bye. SoxL, another L, but yeah, all good. Always ready for more opportunities. I just think, you know, that a little bit more tired, not as patient as maybe I should be, because patience is key. You have to pack that patience, as Sharif often says. But for now, we'll move on to the lesson du jour, because you know, I think I definitely need a lesson of the day over here right now to just take a break from some of those trades and focus on learning. 2-bar gap and go. So we've been talking about gap and goes all week, and I think pretty apt week for it as well with earnings, especially big boy Apple tonight to keep an eye on. So let's talk about a strategy focusing on strong price movement within a single trading day if you're talking about the classic gap and go. But what if you want to identify trends with longer legs? Enter the 2-bar gap and go strategy, which is a variation that leverages momentum building across 2 consecutive days. And this is going to be a quick lesson diving into this approach and some potential opportunities therein. So let's start going beyond the single day, because the standard gap and go strategy is going to just look for gaps that occur at the opening of the trading day. And it can actually miss trends that develop over a longer time frame. So let's talk about day one. You've got that big price gap with high volume, either up or down. Then day 2, you'll see the stock opening, continuing whatever strength it has or weakness in case of a gap down, and that continues the trend initiated on day 1. So here's one example. You have that increase, then you've got our gap up, and look at day 2, another nice little move, and some continued upside. So that's the vibe there. That's the look on, here's one example with AstraZeneca, which, oh my gosh, look at that chart. You were not lying. AstraZeneca was a big money stock there. But yes, that's one example here for continuation gaps. So why 2 bars? It gives you a couple different advantages. One of them is going to be identifying momentum. So you get that day 1 gap signaling a potential trend. The strong open on day 2 will then confirm its continuation and give you a little bit more confluence before entering the trade. What about reducing false breakouts? That's something else as well, right? Because single day gaps can be fleeting. They can be here today, gone tomorrow. And waiting for a strong open on day 2 can help filter out short-lived movements, especially if you're looking for more of a swing type of thing. Now, last but not least, targeting news-driven events is the other thing that you can do for 2 bars. So usually if you have a news or earnings catalyst, if it lasts, if it sticks, if it's something the market still has its eye on, you might want to watch for some follow-through for day 2, because it can help identify stocks with potentially sustained movements due to news. And that's what kind of separates, as I was saying earlier. Pardon?
What? I said objection.
Objection.
It says sustained.
Oh, yeah, sustained. Objection. Overruled. Witness may answer. I watch a lot of Law and Order. Order. But yeah, so I didn't hear what you said there. But yeah, so sustained.
Chilean Nightmare is smashing the gavel, man.
Contempt of court.
Chilean Nightmare ain't having it.
Right? But yeah, so sustained movements are really what we want, and that's what really separates some of these more significant gaps from a small cap gapper type move, which you're going to be here today, gone tomorrow. How do you put this trade into practice, though? So first, you're going to want to scan for those day 1 gaps. Use a gap scanner, shout out to Trade Ideas. That's how I find some of the stuff that's moving for our morning watch list, which you can check out on our site definitely to get a sense of what is moving. Then, once you find your day 1 gaps, you want to look at your day 2 opening. Observe the opening price and volume, and look for a strong open that continues the trend initiated on day 1. Last but not least, you want to think about your entry and stop loss. But this shouldn't be the last thing you think about. It's just the last thing on this list, because entry and stop loss are really, really important. And if you don't have a plan for how to exit the trade, you haven't really planned your trade, something that Neil said once that I think is really key. So once you see your strong day 2 open, consider placing a limit order just above in a bullish gap or below in a bearish gap that day 2 opening price. And you always want to set your stop loss order to manage potential losses. So one example is, imagine you have a stock XYZ gapping up $2 on day 1, and it reaches $15 with high volume. And then on day 2, we gap even further. We open at $16.50. And so then the strong day 2 open could suggest a continued uptrend from day 1. So you might want to place a limit order to buy slightly above $16.50 and aim to capitalize on the continued momentum. But there are a few risks, as always, in these markets. You got some risks. Patience is going to be really important, because the strategy requires waiting for confirmation on day 2, because you don't want to jump into the sea in a longer-term play on day 1 alone, because sharks could bite you. False signals, also important, because even strong day 2 opens can reverse. You always want to use proper risk management, because those fake out breakouts can get you. And I've certainly felt the brunt of that even on just an intraday basis today, right? So always make sure you have everything, all your ducks in a row before you start wetting your beak. How have I never said that before?
Oh, wow. That is actually pretty good.
Okay, so I was trying to.
I'm not going to lie. That was actually pretty good.
Thank you. It's also not going to be for every gap. Not all day 1 gaps are going to lead to sustained trends. And you always want to analyze your supporting factors like news or technical indicators, before entering. Because the 2-bar gap and go strategy can be a powerful tool for identifying trends, but it can also lead to fake outs. It requires discipline, patience, and a strong understanding of market dynamics. So that's the lesson, our lesson of the day.
All
How
right.
are you doing? What are you
I'm
looking
good.
at?
I'm about to short Softy here. We're at VWAP, and well, I'm thinking about getting short here on the soft one. I don't want to go into the side charts and analyze and show you guys what I'm looking at because I'm afraid that I'm going to miss the trade if it goes down without me. It's already going without me here. All right, well, I'm taking it short. So come what may. We're short 48s. I hate this price. This is not what I wanted, but you know, you don't always get what you want here. So we'll look, my out is going to be the top of this candle. It's going to be the break of 75. So we're going to put in 396, 78 top there, and we'll look to cover the entire thing if it makes its way up to the top. So that's going to be the look on the soft one. We're looking to get short here on a VWAP rejection and a possible trend line rejection as well, because I drew a nice trend line here that looks to be in play, at least for the moment, on Softy. So we'll see what we get as, yeah, we're moving down here on the soft one, at least it looks for now. If we can get a nice little second push on that, we're still waiting. The spread is a little tight on this one. That's the thing. That's why we're not getting filled. It did cross on the bid, but not on the ask. So we're going to have to pack our patience. But this is the look on Softy. I want to show now that I'm in the position. It's been lower high, lower high, lower high. We're kind of respecting this trend here. It comes into the volume weighted average price. It does reject at this level. And there it goes, baby. So I did get the right trade, but not the right price on the soft one. You're never going to get everything that you want, but we're going to let this one come down. Again, this is it's not a rinse and repeat trade because Softy hasn't been rejecting off VWAP all day, but it has been putting in lower highs. So if it's been putting in lower highs, you should have a short bias. Okay? And the soft one right now is not doing what the rest of the market is doing. Amazon is at day's high. Apple's right back at that top high, 172.50. Tesla's still dancing with 180 like it's been all morning. Meta's flying as it typically does. Near high a day, 442.07 on Meta. The Future is near the local highs as well, and NVIDIA is broken through 850. So the soft one's doing its own thing at these levels. We'll see if it can continue down into possibly that whole dollar level at 396, which also happens to be the 10-period EMA. So if Microsoft comes down into that 396, we'll look to cover. Otherwise, if it breaks the top of this candle, this crest over here, that's going to be my out for the remaining amount. So yeah, that's basically all there is to that trade. But I feel like the market may be shifting here in its momentum. It looks like it is intending on going higher. At least that's kind of how I feel at these levels. So yeah, that's my look on that ADR.
Yeah, I mean, my look is on, my eyes are on Pfizer. Oh my gosh, that wasn't even on purpose. But yeah, so I tried to take the Pfizer short, did not work out, did not manage it to the best of my abilities, unfortunately. Josh Brown coming over here being like, oh, I doubled down on Pfizer. Like,
Joshua.
I did not like the timing of that, Mr. Josh Brown. But I will still watch your podcast. It's all good. But no, so anyway, so that kind of threw me for a bit of a loop. Shout out to Adib, I believe, who's still in this trade. Congrats to you. Yeah, I really just want to take this off this bounce. I like this bounce at this, where am I trying to get involved in this? 2782s. We'll see if we get to 2782s. This might be a little bit ambitious. Maybe should have aimed for a bit of a higher price on this. But I think, yeah, like honestly, worst case scenario, I'll take 2783s. I'm risking into this 2790, no, 2779 coffee area. If we break below that, I will be outie. But I don't want to have to get out of Dodge just yet. Shout out to apparently 2 car brands. I want to stay in this Pfizer for now. Speaking of cars, I mean, let's look at like Ford and stuff like that. We have Ferrari next week as well, so that might be worth a look. Ford, I don't have much of a read on Ford, just kind of below that 9 EMA. What about GM? I like how me just randomly making a pun had me checking all these cars that reported last week. GM though, that VWAP projection?
Mm-hmm. You know, even some of these like dead-looking stocks could absolutely be, possible to do well on if you get your levels, like especially like you just pointed out, VWAP rejection, rinse and repeat, right? Like,
yeah, I like that. Also, JF Trader saying keep your eyes on the FIs.
Hey, I like
love that. I did, yeah. I kept my eyes on the FIs, and right now, hopefully, we're going to re-FIs some profits on this trade with that bounce. Hopefully that bounce off that 9 EMA area. If we break below 79s, I'm outie. I'm going to get my side chart ready to recognize that. But also, one name I definitely don't want to kick off my side chart is going to be my IBIT. Because this is kind of getting interesting to me. We keep rejecting. I was like, oh, we're going to move up. But
Apple's at
you know
day's
what
high.
IBIT actually is a range. That 3362s, 3370s, if we keep rejecting at this level, I like IBIT. So I think we're going to get a bit of IBIT here. And my Pfizer, going to keep my eyes on the Phis though, of course, because you know you want to make sure you cash in that profit. So shout out to JF Trader for that. Happy with these trades. Right, well, my one trade right now. We're going to have to see how that goes. The biggest thing I think in these markets, if you see stuff you like, don't get so, don't get too discouraged because of past movements. Each trade is going to be its own trade. Today there were some trades I'm not proud of, but I want to keep going. How are you doing on your Aspen?
Good. We're still in it. We finished that trade on the softie. And I put my beak wetter at the $0.25 here on Aspen. We're nicely in the money. We're about 25 pennies in the money right now on this small cap gapper. But it's small share size that I have left, so I'm going to insist that I get printed at my level or get stopped out. So whatever. Everything's pumping here, guys. Apple's going, Amazon's going, and Meta's going. And the reason I got out of my softie trade is not because it was wrong and I didn't get stopped out, but because the winds of change are coming here on this here future. And so I don't want to be in a $1 trillion market cap name when the NQ is pumping. So I'm out, right? Now, if I may be wrong on getting out of this trade, I could have maybe taken some profit takers at the 396 area, which is where I was waiting, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I would get stopped out. So I kind of felt the market was shifting in its momentum, and when we were ranging all day, now we're kind of trending a little bit on some of these names. And even the monster NVDA is near high day. We just printed 855. 856 and 2/3 HOD. That happened at the IB high. Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons. So that took place at 935. We haven't been at these levels since 930, 940 level. Keep your eye on this 857 level. That feature is from yesterday. So this 857 IB high is not just a by accident level. Look at all these prints yesterday. Into the close, not even into the close, at 230. When we crested out, then we tanked into the close. So that was the high there. So you love when these not rinse and repeat, but when these levels feature multiple times so that you're able to, have something sound off which to base your trades. At least for me, that's always been the thing. So yeah, that's a look there. What are we doing here? Bang on Aspen. So we pack our patience and we get the $0.25. Bang, 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 bang. Small cap gapper winner. Happy about this one, 53%. Keep your eye on Aspen tomorrow. I'm telling you guys, this is a distinctly different small cap gapper. It has a really good recent daily chart from August onwards, and look at it go. Here comes 23.5. So it looks like we took that out a little prematurely. Nothing new there. Anyway, to build on the point about Aspen, we talked about how it has room to 25. So if it doesn't get to 25 today and then it runs tomorrow, I would at least have it up on the side chart, see what it's doing, maybe throw some alerts out there so that if it does come into the price target that you want, at least you're aware of it. You don't have to take the trade. But ASPN at high a day, 23.38 HOD at the moment. But it's not the only small cap gapper that has given you opportunities, Ram. In fact, this CYCC has been rinse and repeating off VWAP. It's not giving you a whole lot in terms of the move, but you could size into it. And how many shares has this thing done on the day? Let's find out here. Yeah, you probably can't size into this one. This has done 1.44 million shares. It's a $3 name. That's just not enough. That's just not cutting it. So you may have issues of liquidity with this one, but the fact of the matter is it has held VWAP, and the deeper retracements that didn't hold up at VWAP, they held at the 50, and there's not that much of a gap between both these indicators. So good look for CYCC. PBI has been going all day, but the volume has been suspect on that as well. It hasn't really come into VWAP or anything other than the 10-period moving average. So hide? No, show. I don't know why this thing does that. Show 20 EMA. Okay, whatever. It just won't show the 20 EMA on this chart.
Salty.
Yeah, super salty.
20 EMA wants to go into hiding. It's like kind of shy. It's like, don't show me off in front of all these people, Sharif.
Right?
Like, I have feelings.
You know who's showing off right now, though? Aspen, bro, this is on the way up. Here comes a $0.5 NASPN. Good trade. Don't chase this one, guys. Get it off a key level of support. If you like that 23, wait at 23. If you like that 10 EMA, then wait for the 10 EMA to come in. Again, I showed you this earlier, but I want to show it to you again. If you have this option on your platform to be able to trade off the charts, you can move the order, whether buy or sell, to account for the new position of the indicator. So if you want to trade off the 20 EMA, the 20 EMA is not stagnant, it's dynamic, and so you're going to have to move up these orders with it. If you have that option, use it. I think it's important. So let's keep an eye on that. Let's switch back to, wow, Amazon. What the hell is Amazon doing? Yeah, it's mooning, Neil. Neil says it's mooning. It is. 184 break on the Amazonian. We are well above the IB high at 183.25. The only thing really we have standing in our way is this 185 top. That 185 top comes from yesterday in the afternoon after Powell got off the mic, and then we absolutely tanked. You can see that V-shaped retracement. Today, though, it seems a bit more of a sustained uptrend. 185, guys. I will be looking to short the Amazonian off 185, Neil. Look at yesterday, that crash from 3 o'clock, 185 resistance. So I'll be looking to short it at 185. That's my look there.
Yeah, Pfizer is just trucking along, not doing too much. Also, congrats to you on your trade on Aspen.
I thank you. I appreciate you.
Nice. I know you really wanted that, so I'm really happy that Aspen behaved, that you guys were able to come to a shared agreement to take that long. So, like, seriously, congrats to you.
Thanks, Adair. I appreciate you.
Because that's awesome. It's always nice when, like, you have an idea and it just works out perfectly, because I feel like the market doesn't always give you that.
No, it does not.
And you know, that's why I'm a little bit salty at myself, because there were so many great ranges I just wasn't playing properly. TQs kept having a range, and I got out. I mean, to be clear, I did have a really tight stop. Oh wait, gotta go to Pfizer. And I don't regret that decision. I just think that my biggest issue there with my Qs was just that I got out a little. I was a little bit too. I should have gotten back in. Look at all these triangles, man. Come on. I should have gotten like back in on this short. I risked into 52.80s. Happy with that, whatever. But then I should have gotten back in if I was like it's still falling. Do you know what I mean? So I think checking back in was the biggest thing. And then we had a nice long that worked out here on this TQs. But then I added in and I didn't scalp enough. So I think the biggest issue is just execution and looking for news. Oh, Benson C saying that yes, there was Paramount news, so it hadn't come into my blotter at that point. Sony and Apollo expressed interest in buying Paramount for $26 billion. So the thing with that is, that's the same amount they said before. Paramount wasn't interested before. So I think unless Sony and Paramount really, or Sony and Apollo really sweeten the pot, the vibe I get is that Sherry Redstone and Co. are still gonna be like, because the $26 billion deal has been the only deal that I've really seen coming out of Sony and Apollo. Right, so I'm not seeing any new details on any differences with that deal, but like that was the kind of the big thing that I had seen earlier on this deal, was that Sony and Apollo 26 billion. So I guess they're still interested in it, but I think what I've seen is Paramount still really trying to make things work with Skydance. The only thing with the Skydance deal is that Paramount would need to renew to have its conversation with Charter, because the biggest issue is Charter's agreement with Paramount. Now, yesterday, we had a nice move up on Paramount, because after market close on Tuesday, it's like, reported that Paramount and Charter are trying to renew their agreements. So that's what gives us that nice spike up yesterday, because they're like, oh, if this agreement, if they're having these contracts, or if they're having chat about contracts, that could actually maybe be the motion in the ocean that we need for that Paramount and Skydance deal, because moral of the story there for, I kind of said that in a weird way, I need more caffeine, is that, yeah, Sony and Apollo being interested in Paramount is great, but I don't think Sherry Redstone wants that deal, because it's the same deal, same offers before, $26 billion, and they keep getting rejected. I think what it sounds like is Paramount really wants to make things work with Skydance if they can get those terms, but I know the biggest thing is that chat with Charter. I don't know why I read a decent amount about this.
Aren't they going to give her like less money than she was offered initially or something?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like the deal with Apollo is better. Apollo and Sony, but she doesn't want it. But nice look to GME, and you know what GME wants? Upside, upside, upside. No stop for GameStop on this move.
What is happening?
I didn't see any news on this either. Look at these volume spikes. I'm going to see if there's anything new, because that Paramount move, I did not see that news.
Very unusual.
Right away. But GameStop, yeah, nothing on GameStop.
I don't
Maybe
see
it saw
anything either.
fellow Carvana run and be like, hey, I have shorts too. I want to run as well. Maybe GameStop wanted to just hang out with Carvana, but nice look there for GME. And honestly, pretty sustained volume. Not as much as that first pop we got, mind you, but not bad either, trying to continue that move to the upside.
All right, Gorev, good question here. Do you buy soon as the stock reaches your key level, or do you wait for some sort of confirmation? Feels like waiting for confirmation is too late from an R&R perspective. Thoughts? Great question, dude. I'm going to typically wait for confirmation unless it's like a really very specific level. I'm talking about something that I've charted on the 4-hour or something that was a closing print that's shown you its propensity to bounce on that day. And if I do take it on a resting order, I always try to have my stop in place because sometimes I don't see the screen when it gets filled because I'll be either looking at something else or whatever, right? And so I want to have my stop in there so that if I do get filled and I'm unaware of it, my stop still triggers. So what I would say to you is most of the time I will wait for confirmation. Like I always say, that getting it on the back end, as Neil likes to say. So if something's coming down into a level, are you just buying it off that level because that's the price, or are you waiting for the stock to prove to you that, yes, this is a key level of support and I'm going to start making higher highs and higher lows, printing some green candles if you're long or red candles if you're short? So I would say to you a bit of both. Really depends on the situation. It's not a hard and fast rule. I would ask the big kahunas that, though, on the show, their show coming up in about 25 minutes, probably have a little bit better of a response for that. All right, guys, while we were dropping hot lines, the future broke into 17.6 territory. So we have a 17.386 LOD and a 17.619 HOD right now on the NQ June contract. And this level is not by accident. That's the level that we got into in the pre. That's where we topped off there at 850 after we got those economic numbers. It was very much close to the level that we got to at 7:10 in the morning as well. So this has been a level that we're familiar with, at least intraday today on this future. Now, we're well below 17.6 now. Keep your eye out on this level, though. This level here, 17.5 2/3. For whatever reason, seem to feature today, both as a level of support and then as a level of resistance. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes out, this 17.5 3/4, 17.5 2/3, whether this can hold up at this level and we get another break and curl above 17.6. We were well above 17.6 yesterday. You remember when when Jerome Powell got on the mic and we popped into 17.8, almost 17.792. Same thing. So I'm looking for a possible area of support on the future right around here, owing to this area in the pre and these two crests that we got subsequent to the bell. 17.5 3/4, 17.5 2/3. We'll keep eyes on that. What did the some of these Meg 7 names do? So we did break 180 decidedly here on the Cybertruck. We got into the $0.50, but now we're right back below 180 again. So VWAP is really the only other level I'm looking at here as an area of support, and I'm not taking a trade off Tesla on this level. It's not the setup I'm looking for. 179.50 or a little bit below that is where the volume weighted average price is on TSLA. What else is moving here? So I talked about that 185 level on the Amazon. Meta as well, clearing that 440. So initially, you know, today anyway, 440 has been a resistance level. And in the sim this morning, you guys know I've been trading these setups that I've been charting in the sim. And then I'm going to take my data after the experiment is over. I took 440 as a resistance level today in the sim, and it did well. Took a couple of bucks on that. So if we come down into 440, what I'm trying to say is I'll be looking long on Meta, but I don't think we make it down there quite yet. Looks like 441.5 is where we bottomed out there at the 10 period and right into 42.5. Meta moves dollars at a time, baby. What a move back up for META, up 2/3%. The dead one, Apple, seems to be on the way back up again. It printed a high a day about not that long ago, about 10 minutes ago, 172.78. and we're right back at that 6, 8, 10 pennies off that day high. Apple has been putting incrementally higher highs and higher lows. It seems today that we have a bit of an upward channel on Apple, as denoted by these two trend lines over here. Yeah, this is a very clear upward channel on the dead one. So we'll see if that one continues. Again, make sure to check out the market recap show with Adara and Sean. Apple will be reporting at 4:30. The $2.75 trillion market cap has been on watch by a lot of people, Adara, where we want to see what they have for us in the AI world.
Yeah, I mean, we want to also see if we can make any coin in coin. Like, what's the market's 2 cents on coin? Is DraftKings still king? Is Monster Energy going to give us some monster numbers? These are all names, in addition to being puns, they're all names they're going to report today.
Very true.
How can we square up with Square?
Oh.
Which also, speaking of which, people want to see Square ahead of its earnings, which are also tonight. So let's take a look at Squa/Block. And,
Squa.
Okay. I don't know. This is an interesting look. Slightly low. This is hard. I'm going to be honest. I don't have a huge read on, because I think it's still kind of deciding what direction it wants to do. Slightly higher lows here, but generally we're kind of struggling to break above that 68.80 area. I think if we break above 69s with the viciousness, because we rejected this now twice. I think if we break above 69 with the viciousness, that could be interesting. But I think tomorrow 69 could be a key level coming into earnings. That being said, we are having a nice little bounce off the 9 EMA right now, so nice look there for SQ. Thank you, Volky. Yeah, I mean, hopefully the puns landed. I mean, either way, just like making them, having some fun. Having more than a bit of fun, but I am also an IBIT, which has not been super fun. I want to take some trades kind of heading to the end of the day that I liked. I'm trying to get back to my rangy roots. This IBIT was rangy. I don't know if it stayed rangy. I think now we're kind of having a rejection off that 9 EMA. I'm giving this to 33.61, so risking 3 pennies, trying to make 7 pennies. I'm aware there's very tight risk, but that's honestly my bigger issues are just when I don't manage my risk enough. That Pfizer trade earlier, par example, and then that's just kind of where I get a little bit chopped up. Like I said, this has been my worst day by far since going live, but that just means now I know what didn't work for me today. How do I change that tomorrow? I was a little bit tired today. We weren't caffeinated enough. You know what I mean? That's something I can change tomorrow, hopefully. Because contrary to popular belief, I really do not have that much caffeine. And I say that because I know that is one of the biggest things that I think is assumed. I really am not very caffeinated, and today
doesn't drink that much caffeine.
I really probably should have been caffeinated, and that might have been the issue. We broke below 61, so I'm out of IBIT. Basically flat on my Pfizer short, which I'll also take a look at. But yeah, that's really what you want to see. You want to see making sure what did I do wrong and how do I fix it. Rob EV saying is IBIT a bull flag. I'm not really sure. I think we had that move up, but now I would say we're kind of. I think that breakout above this, to me, was the attempt at the bull flag breakout, what we did at 33.70. Now we're kind of slumping and seeing 33.70 as resistance. So I have to say, Rob EV, who I love not just looking at EVs, looking at everything. I'm not sure that IBIT is a bull flag. I think that if we were to have the bull flag, I think that attempted breakout of that 33.70 might have been a better opportunity. But that being said, things can always change, right? That's just my take on the chart.
Guys, GameStop's continuing to go. And I don't have a reason why it's going. I don't have anything on my blotter. This has happened before where we found out subsequent that it was some sort of Wall Street bets pump or something like that. So I don't have anything again on GameStop at the moment, but the print right now, $11.80 HOD. It's trading at 79. So we're okay. It's breaking high of day. It's pumping up as we speak now, 8.33%. On GameStop, on decent volume. The volume's not overwhelming or anything, but there's a good amount of volume, and it's mostly coming in just recently now. So you can see here, 115, the volume bars really started to come alive. Prior to that, you can barely see the volume bars. So this is very much a 115 beginning type thing. This is a 1 minute candle, so this is exactly 115 when the volume came in, when the initial pump came in. It's done about 2.07 million shares on the day. Let's go and look at the daily quick here to see where the resistance levels are on GameStop. So we do have this day over here, April 26th, when we got into about 12 and a fifth. So possible resistance at 12, 12 and a fifth. This, the 29th, the day subsequent, we did top out. The high was 12 or 1201. 12. It was exactly 12. So we could have some resistance at that $12 area. If 12 breaks, keep your eye on the 50 period. In fact, what I would say to you is that the high on the 26th and the 50 period are one and the same. They're both at 12.25. So good chance we do reject, not good chance, possibility we reject off 12.25 owing to the fact that it is the 50 period and the local area top on GameStop. Again, don't really know why it's running. And trade this carefully, guys, especially if we don't have a catalyst. We don't really know what's happening here. So GameStop at day's high. Let's see what else people. Big Kyle Burdett's back in the chat, baby. He says SPY short is on. Looking for selling in the close to de-risk before tomorrow's news. I'm assuming you are talking about Apple. Is there any news that we're getting? What are we getting tomorrow?
NFPs,
non-farm payrolls. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, NFP can move markets. There was a trader on this floor that his bread and butter was at NFP. And so, yeah, that's to give you the idea that it is a tradable event. Make sure to catch that with us. The entire gang will all be here bright and early, 8:30 tomorrow for that print. We might even go early. Who knows? Sometimes we do. So we'll keep an eye on that. What else we have popping off here? Let's look at these here, these Mag 7's names. Mag 7 names. I can get it right. All right, we talked about that 185 level on Amazon, and we're going to have to put our money where our mouth is probably sooner than we anticipated. 185 is about 23 pennies away. That's a HOD, 20 pennies away now. Amazon is on the way up, and it behooves us to look. I mean, 3.25% for Amazon. Not a bad look at all. I'm getting nothing here. Nothing here for Amazon to justify this whole thing. I'm seeing some stuff about Google, their antitrust trial, which started today. I think opening remarks were today or yesterday or something like that. Nothing recently to justify. When did this whole pump start anyway? 110. So I'm not getting anything, guys. So yeah, this could be just a technical break or just some regular positioning there. 184.82 HOD. Now it's coming back into 60s. Yeah, we'll watch. We'll watch. I mean, I'm unsure what to do here. So, Brad Gober, Amazon. That's what I'm talking about, my man. I'm talking about Amazon. I'm watching it like a hawk. I've got it up over here. Let me pull it up on the side. I thought I had it up. We'll take Tesla off. We'll put Amazon on. Chef Joe, GameStop has a bunch of options alerts and call sweeps. Okay, so that could absolutely be it. You never really know that unless you're able to kind of have a look at the options chain there on GameStop. But right now, it did top out at 1188 for now. That is for now. We'll see if it continues to make that big move up. Brad Gober, I'm going short big time. 185. Ooh. Jeez, Brad. Okay. I like that confidence, though, Bradley.
And with a plan.
Yeah, that's a bit. I like it. So I'm keeping my eye on 185. I could be persuaded to join you. Again, I need to see how it trades above there. I'm just not comfortable putting a resting order at that level. And come what may, it's just too much of a monster, guys. It's up 3.25%. And having a look at this chart over here, unabated to the quarterback since 115, goes Amazon. So we're below 17.6 though, Adara. So if that's any consolation for the shorts, we've been kind of doing the wick shimmy from the south side of 17.6. We did break 17.6 on these two candles here, getting up into that 1/5 area. We're right back at 17.6 now, and we held the 10 period beautifully here on the 5 on the NQ June contract. We were very rangy today, but I feel like that might be changing now.
Yeah, it is. There's a change in the range, that's for sure. Times they are arranging. Well, not anymore. So that was, yeah, it's honestly, and that's why I said I was a little bit disappointed in myself earlier, because there were ranges and I just wasn't playing them right. Like, look at all these missed opportunities for me and the TQs earlier today. But that's why I'm so happy I'm able to go into the end of our show trying to take some trades. Please just punch with these TQs longs. I noticed us bouncing off the 9 EMA. Now I know Kyle Burdett said short the SPY, and I think, we haven't made a new high or anything, but I think for my scalp purposes, this type of stuff I like. I want 53.10s. I don't know if we'll get it. We have been struggling with that 53.03s for whatever reason. We break above, then we peek our heads right back to the downside. So, je ne sais pas. At this point, honestly, if I can get 53.05s, I shall be pleased as punch. Yeah, shout out to Bob Dylan there. But yeah, we're gonna have to get out here at 53.05. Please just punch. Took 7 pennies. I was gonna maybe risk into like that 90s area. So happy with what I did. We could have gone a little bit higher, but you know, I want to be able to take my eyes off of this so I can look at other stuff for people. Shout out to Self-Ability with the $5 super chat about Palantir. Sorry I wasn't able to look at that earlier. We do apologize there, but thank you very much for your support always. Yeah, sorry guys, we're always trying to get to everything in the chat. There is always a lot to look at. This Palantir, look at this. This curling, see, initially I was considering going short this around VWAP, but I'm happy I didn't because curling back above VWAP here, trying to get above that 22.54. Hopefully this one is your Palantir because I think it's pretty pal and clear that we want to break above that 22.54 area. Trying to curl back above here. This was, I think, with some resistance earlier and also a little bit of chop and churn and also pre-market support. This 22.50, sorry for the tongue out there, but that 22.54.
Oh.
This is an area and a half.
Ram.
On Palantir. Ram. But yeah, sorry about that Self-Ability. We weren't able to look at the super chat right away, but this Palantir, I think it's pretty pal and clear. This could be a nice area. If we pal and clear it, could be a nice area. Also, 10 cents in the money in my Pfizer short. Oh, we're breaking down even further on Pfizer. Please just punch. I need a little bit of a W today after taking some L's and being a little bit down on myself, spilling some coffee on myself, having a moment. Through trials and tribulations, we try to turn that into some positive trades. Also, yeah, Paramount's still pumping apparently. How are you doing?
All the way down goes Amazon, baby. Wow, what a rejection off 185. At least it gives you like, I think, 50 pennies there. How much did it give you? Let me just double check. The low there was 55. So right now it's giving you 45 pennies and it's still below 185. And it didn't even break above 185 by that much. 185.10 goes Amazon and on the way back down now. Yeah, look, are you going to scalp this or are you going to hold this? For me, if I was in this trade, I'd be looking to scalp. I don't know how much we make it down. Look, you can make it down to 184. And I think that that's reasonable because that's where the 10 period's hanging out on the 5. And we did respect the 10 period earlier today. We had a lot of good retracements in the 10 period, and then we started getting away from it. So right now, topping tail candle at 185. I didn't take the trade, but that's all right. I've done well today. And yeah, we'll watch this one. I shouted it out to you guys. You know, I didn't take it myself, so sucks to be me. But the fact of the matter is this one actually gave you that move off 185. Again, that 185 was no hocus pocus. It was essentially that high from previous yesterday. I shouted it out to everybody. So I gave you that trade. But right back up we go. And that's what I was positing the question. Is this a scalp or is this a hold? Back like into an ambitious retracement in a VWAP, 182.25 or something like that. So keep your eye on Amazon. 185 could feature again. I don't think the trade is done. We could continue to head down or we continue to head up. We'll have to wait and see exactly here. Shafali, could you please take a look at Vana? Absolutely. Let's have a look at Vana. We haven't looked at it for, you know, another 15 minutes or something.
Vana demands constant attention, Sharif. How dare you take your eyes off of it? No, don't be so derisive towards
I know,
okay?
right? I was a little derisive, I'm not going to lie.
She's a big one.
All right, Adair, remember when we were talking about this range here on a tight, not even really a tight range, a 116 essentially low and a 121, 121.50 top. That's done. We broke down well below that. So what I would say to you is, look now for a 116 short on Vana. Maybe, okay? I wouldn't have a resting order there. I'd want to see how it trades. The thing about this 116 short is you really need to give it to 117.50 to know you're wrong, because that's where VWAP is. That's too rich for my blood. So this setup doesn't work all that well for where you can take profits, because if you're looking at your profit taker off a 116 short, well, you could say, okay, you can make it down to 111.5. That's low of day. So I would say to you, Shvali, I'm not interested in going long at these levels. Essentially, I was looking for a range earlier. Like I said, 121, 121.50 to the top side, 116 to the downside. Now that we've given up the ghost at 116, I personally would use 116 as a resistance level. So if you want to take it long here, maybe into 116, that's up to you. I'd rather look to see if it rejects off 116 before I get it short.
Yeah,
You were looking at something
Oh
there.
yeah, I was going to say I was looking at the same level because I've learned from the resistance to support thing that you've always taught me. So thank you to you because I was also looking at that 116.
You were looking at the same thing, eh?
That was the first thing I saw, and then you said it, and I was like, well, that's because you know I learned from sitting next to you, and these are levels you noticed. So thank you for that.
I just wanted to point out, have you noticed I'm range trading a little bit more?
I did.
So why don't you say anything? Huh?
I like it.
There we go.
I like it.
It's funny how you can learn off each other, right?
Because I do the high and support, and I've done a little bit more of these like kind of pop-ish trades lately too.
Oh, there you go.
And which is very much your type of style, right?
Interesting look.
So yeah, I mean, I want to take more, but also like I said, I'm living vicariously through your mega cap ranges because I'm a little bit less comfy taking them for now, but that doesn't mean not ever. And I'm so happy I was able to end today after a lot of disappointment. I was a little bit in my Billie Eilish "What Was I Made For" feels earlier today, where I was like, this is not my day. It's my worst day since going live. Apparently doing soap opera voice. That was how we were doing. But I was happy to take this quick rangy pop here on the TQs, taking that into 5/10s. Now the TQs actually look like a short to me because we're giving up that 53. You know what? What's life without whimsy? What's life without whimsy? We're taking it. We're taking it. Full position. I'm taking. Oh, I think it's going to give up before I even get involved, but that's okay. I'm taking. I have the you know, the motion in the ocean. I think this is a short. And TQs are like, yeah, but you were like 10 seconds too late, Adara. So obviously we're not going to let you into the party. Which I understand, TQs, you got a lot to do. Lots of people trading you. 43.86 million shares in volume done today. So let's see how the TQs do. If I can get into the short, I would love to short this rip, short the baby rip into the end of the day, as long as we keep seeing lower highs.
Though, okay, so you had some wings.
I had some wings.
And thoughts on the lemon pepper before we get to the spicy one. Before we get to this.
You know, lemon pepper is not just a really good Rick Ross and Drake song. It's also a very good wing.
You liked it?
I liked the wing.
And the dark one.
Oh, that was so good. The hickory.
That was really good.
Yeah,
right?
that was so nice. Randy gave me one
hickory.
of his wings as well too, because he's like, "You look hungry. You can have my wing." I was like, "Thank you."
And now the spicy one, because we got 3 types yesterday, and then I came back and I just saw her like paralyzed. I don't mean to make fun.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It was like that face. It was just like. It's like, oh, my mouth is burning.
Yeah. So anyone who saw me on the afternoon show knows how that wing went down. I'm happy I tried it. Very happy I tried it. You know, as Shakira said in Zootopia, try everything. So happy I tried the wing. It just was not, try every wing, I guess, but it didn't. Also, yeah, so Ramin wants to clarify as well, it was a bite of wing. I did not have a whole wing. I had one bite of that wing.
Yes.
But that's what matters is I tried. So thank you, Ramin, for the support there. Much appreciated. And I want to try to as well. I was saying this to Ramin before we got the wings yesterday, is I like the idea of like these fruity sauces. Like I like a pineapple. There's this one of those like place that does burritos is like a pineapple salsa that's really good. So I like the idea. I just can't have it too spicy. You know what I mean? And that was my issue. A little bit too spicy or too rich for my blood, as you will sometimes say. Too spicy for my blood were those wings. Also, welcome to Volky, becoming a member of Trader TV Live. So happy to have you here and make some trading memories. I also want to quickly take a look at Paramount because I think it's Paramount we pay attention to this. Benson in the chat saying that he's like made, I think Benson C saying he's like made his month or something in Paramount so far. So shout out to you. Nice look on Paramount. I want to clarify though as well, the news on this deal, I'm not seeing actually any new terms in the deal. Sony and Apollo offering $26 billion, which is what they were offering before from what I read. So unless there's something new, what I read doesn't seem like there's too much of a difference there in that report. So just to clarify, we broke above that 53.05 with the visitors. So I ran out of my TQ shorts, but I'm still happy I tried taking it because that's what matters is seeing a level you like, trying to get involved.
I like how Neil wrote, he's like, I had the rest of that wing and it tasted great. Yes,
He did.
Neil. Never let. Yeah, I agree with you, brother. I agree with you. No, I hate wasting food. It drives me nuts. Yeah, so shout out to him, and it was good eating, he says. Guys, GameStop's still going, and now some sympathy plays have started to come with GameStop. Okay, thanks, Ram. Look, Ram saying Trump might have been talking about it. We're unsure if that's true or not. I still don't have any reason why AMC or GME are moving up, but AMC started moving up now in sympathy, I'm assuming, with GameStop. AMC now up almost 6.5%. GameStop up almost 10%, $11.95 for GameStonk. as it heads all the way up to that $12 area. This is the level we talked about not that long ago. We talked about this 12.25 level being an interesting area of resistance on the daily. That is where we got into on the 26th. That was the top. And now that the 50 period has kind of sloped down a little bit since the 26th, I think the 50 period and that $0.25 level will conflate to be that same level, making that possible short even more juicy. So if you're able to secure shorts on GameStop and you can manage risk on this trade, an interesting area is that $12.25 level. We have 2 minutes left on the show.
Only 2 minutes left? It's been quite a day.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm so happy that I was able to share this day with everybody. Like I said, this is my worst day since going live. But I think one of the things I want to shout out to Sean and Neil as well for being really open about it is trading is up and down, much like the market.
Oh, yeah.
Your emotions and your account are going to be up and down. And I think I'm proud of myself that I was able to take some trades I really liked heading into the end of the day. Because even if you're down in the day, you can't stop yourself from taking stuff you like. You know what I mean? So I want to say I'm really happy I was able to learn that lesson in front of everybody here. But, I'm getting square with myself. Let's get square with square, which is trying to push right now above I said that 90 MA bounce was interesting, and indeed it was. Squa is one. I don't want to block this off my side chart. I think we're going to have block on the side chart coming into tomorrow.
I just want to mention to everybody, guys, that we also have a mobile version. We have it on TikTok. We have it on Instagram. You can watch us in a mobile-friendly version, so you don't have to keep it in portrait or in landscape mode. You can keep it in portrait. We have, and it's live from 8:30 to 4:30 every day. Catch us when you're not at your desk. You can catch us on your phone, and make sure to like and subscribe and share with your friends. That's the only way we grow. And when we do better, I promise you, we'll put that back into the show so that you guys can improve as well.
Yeah, I mean, the whole part of this is moving as a community, but right now we're going to have to move over to the Big Kahunas and Brendan. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time and same bad channel, which you can catch on a lot of different platforms, as we've just said. But for now, Brendan, going to be at the big desk.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys, 2 o'clock. Welcome back in as we get the post-Fed rally. I mean, we're positive on the day, so I guess so. A lot of people were not expecting that, I don't think, today. But here we go back to the upside. A couple things to note. Coming